Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series. Tonight, it's the final call. Just 3 more races left in the regular season before we have our drivers set up for the playoffs. And drivers know this could be one of the final opportunities to really set yourself up to point your way in, or you might be forced into a must-win scenario. Tonight's race is the GOAT 135 at New Hampshire, and that driver right there, Justin Haley, is on the logo. But tonight's race, second time we've ever ran here at New Hampshire, and New Hampshire is going to be a track that is tough on the drivers from start to finish. We'll see how these drivers can attest throughout this evening. We're excited to give you all here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth is going to be Zach Hall. And Zach, tonight going to be a tough task, another mile distance course. We're testing out the flat tracks, and once again, the drivers these last few weeks have been getting very angry at one another. Curious if that temper is going to show up here tonight, or will it just continue to snowball into the playoffs?
That is definitely a great question to have. I mean, with 3 races left, New Hampshire here tonight, Charlotte, then the 2008 configuration of Atlanta. So you got 2.5-mile racetracks that are, going to be pretty tame, I'd say. I mean, the racing can get wild, of course, a 1.5 miles, we know that, but that's on the more tame side of things. These flat tracks like New Hampshire is where the wild side of things can play out, and those angers and tempers can show up. So I think New Hampshire tonight is going to be that kind of last wild card race of the regular season, where you don't really know where you're going to come out of here. You could be very, very quick and end up in a wreck, or you could very well just be struggling all night, because it's just one of those style of racetracks. So it's going to be interesting. I think, like I said, the final wild card of the season, and just a place where we're going to see Beating and Banging really show up.
Yeah, and we were looking at the playoff points going into last week as the drivers were at Auto Club. Entering into Auto Club, it looked like our top 12 initially. It is based off of points. Whoever is inside of the top 12 just based off of raw points will make it to the playoffs, and anyone between 13th and 20th in points, if they have a win, will be added to the playoffs as an extra driver. And those top 12 drivers looked pretty solidified, but Mark Whitley missing out on last week's race, not taking any provisional, just provisional points in. The bare minimum has now opened up that final playoff spot. There are now 4 drivers that could technically point their way in. They got to make sure they push Mark Whitley out, who's been on kind of a big roll at times early in the season. But the last few races, Zach, I would say Mark Whitley in kind of a slump than what we've seen in the past.
It has been somewhat of a slump, and a lot of it's been just bad luck, of course, getting caught up in things. So we'll see if Whitley can break out of that. Of course, tonight it wasn't here last race, so that definitely hurt him the most in points by missing that event. But with the possibility tonight here at New Hampshire, he's going to probably be very, very quick, I'd imagine, here. So he'll be looking to climb his way back into the top 12, which he doesn't need to be in the top 12. He just needs to make sure he's top 20, because he's already got that win to lock him in as a wild card driver. But if he does move top 12 in points, that would bump drivers out and move us only to 12 drivers into the playoffs. So it's going to be, I think, interesting to watch if Kanata, Christopher Norris, Cody Reed, and the likes of those drivers can really keep Mark Whitley below that line to allow them to point their way in.
Yeah, and the drivers that are outside looking in, Joshua Kanata, Samuel Garcia, Jared Talmadge, Danny Cochran. Those are the 4 drivers that need some massive points here today, and they got to hope that Mark Whitley has a slump to make it a little bit more of a fighting battle after tonight in the next 2 races for the playoffs. But tonight's race here at New Hampshire is going to be a fun one. Again, this is the second time they've ran here. This track brought a lot of fun drama back in season 5. The driver that got the pole during that race was Nick Crawford. Here tonight, let's see who can grab the pole for season 7 at the GOAT 135. As drivers will have 5 minutes to put down their fastest lap. Only 2 laps to do so. If you hit the grass, touch the wall, you'll find yourself invalidating your lap time, as drivers are going to be testing their speed. And currently on screen, going to be one of the fastest drivers from practice. It's Thomas Green taking his first lap as he exits out of turn 4.
Thomas has been very, very strong on the flatter, smaller short track side of things this season. So I'm expecting a lot from this 18 tonight. But you're going to see a lot of drivers attacking it in the first lap here tonight of qualifying. And that's really due to, at least talking to a few drivers, the temperatures of the tires just seem to be better in the window when you first take off on the run. So you're going to see a lot, I think, fast times throughout this first few laps, as the first few times have yet to click in. Presley Sora, the first one with a 30.65, which would be the fastest time we've seen all night.
And based off of practice, Thomas Green was the fastest driver, and he's not fast enough to take the top spot. Presley Sora will stay there for the 12. It's going to be 16th, 100ths of a second over the 18 machine. Vincent Sora going to be just close behind in third place. So we know there's a lot of competition out there, but Joshua Kanata, probably one of the bigger names to watch out for, hoping to make the playoffs. One of the drivers that's made the Final Four in the past year in the ISRC has an opportunity to miss out on the playoffs if he does not have a strong run. He comes away 6th on the board. A couple of new schemes as Joshua Kanata bringing out the red and white. We'll talk more about his scheme later on, but it's Halloween season in October. Why not bring out a spooky theme, as we've got ourselves the jack-o'-lantern in the 74 of Nick Crawford exiting out of 4.
Not going to be easy to miss that 74 all night with that bright orange scheme of his with the jack-o'-lantern, and we'll see what type of speed he can bring. Is this top 5 on the board right now? And man, oh man, Mark Whitley's going to jump the second, but what a time from Trenton jump. 30.58. Is Isaac Shelley going to be a 30.58.1? So he's going to be in by 7 thousandths of a second. So those times keep trickling down.
Our top 6 all within 1/10 of a second. They are so close to one another all the way through this field. As Cody Reed comes across the line, he'll bump up into 3rd place. These drivers are putting down a show here tonight, as now our top 7 are all on top of one another. Larry Yingling, who's one of the best average finishes, but yet to find himself with a top 5 finish this season, hoping for a good run across the line. He'll qualify in 8th place for himself, and there's still speed waiting to cross the line. We're waiting for Ethan Smith, John Forbes, Christopher Norris. They're still waiting to put their first lap times in. Also, Justin Sipes, another quick driver, as Jarrett Talmadge crossed the line. He'll be trying to find his speed if possible, but he'll loop it at the start of his first lap.
Well, that's tough because, again, that first lap has been the fast one, so Talmadge going to have to get that chart reset and try to get back out there and try to put another lap down. But Christopher Norris here in the 38, he'll be taking off out of pit road as he's yet to put a time down. Another driver, fast one that's yet to put a time down also is John Forbes, his teammate in the 11. So I think Forbes starting his first lap now. Also got the likes of the 4, Justin Forbes out there putting the lap down. So got some drivers making mistakes, as Christopher Norris there will make that mistake.
And that's a shocker, because for Christopher Norris, he was waiting for the track temp to cool off. From the start of qualifying to now, it just dropped a degree. So the drivers that are on track currently have a slight advantage over the rest of the field. John Forbes crossed the line. Where will he be placed on this first lap? Hoping to be inside of our top 6 if possible. Wanting the top spot, he'll fall just inside of our top 10. 9th place for the 11 machine. Christopher Norris, though, has time for just 1 lap. He has to be perfect as he crosses the line. He should have 5 seconds of buffer zone to get this lap in. It's either qualifying inside of our top 20 or not at all, and he's going to have that little bit of a drift, but he has to keep rolling. Otherwise, he's going to be outside the top 20. He drifts again. Zach, this is disastrous for this 38.
It really is a disaster for him, as he's going to pull low here and they just call it quits and say no grip on that qualifying run. So he'll be starting outside the top 20 as the final few seconds here of qualifying clicks away. Isaac Shelley going to be on pole position.
Isaac Shelley, quick time, and he will enjoy this one, as drivers have been searching for speed all around, and Shelley will find himself being a part of the pole award class. So this has been a large one of drivers. This is just the 10th race and our 9th different pole sitter. John Forbes, the only driver with 2 poles this season. Everyone else that's got on pole is just 1. Crazy amount of speeds out there. as we have finished up qualifying, finished up practice, and we are now entering into our warm-up zone where drivers are going to have 5 minutes to get any last practice in, as well gives us time to take a look at any of our past stats and how this race is going to be handled here this evening. Let's first, though, take a look at the standings entering tonight, because like we talked about, there's about a 5-4 car battle on who could get that final spot in the playoffs. Just 12 drivers based off of just raw points will automatically make it into the playoffs, and currently Mark Whitley is that buffer driver. But up on top of the board, it's Vincent Sora, and he has had a fantastic run trying to go for that second championship.
That he has. Vincent Sora's had quite a consistent run, got that first win of the season last week at Mosport, so we'll see if a little bit of that can carry over, that momentum for them heading towards those playoffs. But definitely some drivers looking to climb their way closer to that line or possibly get a victory, because if you're in the top 20, you get a victory, you will be a wild card driver.
And again, for Danny Cochran, this season, he could be missing out on the playoffs because of a simple mistake after a post-race incident. Danny Cochran, just a few weeks ago, was given an L2 penalty, which is docking 15 points from your run. So Danny Cochran could have been a lot closer in this fight, but entering tonight, he'll be 16th in points, and our Season 3 champion has got a lot of work here this evening if he wants to find his way, make it into the playoffs here in 4 weeks. But for this evening, we're going to move away from our point standings and shift to how the schedule has been, because it's been a wild schedule, a lot of variety on the different winners. But John Forbes, as well as seeing Nick Crawford, 2 drivers that have gotten 2 wins this season. We've seen a variety past that, though. Mark Whitley's been in victory lane. Vincent Sora's brother, Presley Sora, has been in victory lane. Vincent Sora, just 2 weeks ago, got his win. And like we were talking about during the qualifying, Thomas Green might be one of the big favorites to watch out for here this evening.
I really think Thomas Green definitely will be one of those, because you look even to Iowa, yeah, Presley Sora was the winner of that race, but Thomas Green dominated that race. So we'll definitely be looking for him to carry some more of that momentum. But of course, we got Charlotte next week and Atlanta Motor Speedway to end it off. And that is not the Super Speedway version, that's the old 2008 version. So 2 traditional mile and a halves to close it all out before we head to Talladega and start those playoffs.
We start the playoffs, and it is a chase format, so the final 6 races, it is just about who can find themselves with the best points throughout the 6, and whoever's got the most will hoist the championship for Season 7. As we've got 2 minutes left in warm-up, this is our time for our pick'ems. Who are drivers we feel like could win? Drivers just to watch out for, and we're going to start off with my pick, and I'm going to be going with the obvious one, driver that won this race back in Season 5, but I have a feeling tonight's going to be a little bit more pressure. The main reason I'm picking Mark Whitley, he's that bubble driver in points, and if he has another slip up like he's had the 2 races that he's ran, it could be opening up that final spot to a lot of hungry drivers behind him that are looking for that chance to make the playoffs. But Zach, I'm curious on who's your driver on your spotlight here this evening.
Well, I'm going to go with the driver that we were talking about a little bit about before. That's the 18 of Thomas Green. Just been very strong at this style of racetrack this season. It's been strong really overall at every track, but really showed great strength at the flatter, more short track style track. So I'm excited to see how he races here tonight, and we'll see. He's going to be starting 6, so not to make up some work.
And our third member of our crew, Robert Moyer Jr., runs production for every broadcast that we have. He's going to go with the pumpkin machine. It's going to be Nick Crawford in the 74 racing here tonight for Robert Moyer Jr.'s pick. And not a bad pick. I mean, we've seen Nick Crawford. He's found strategy to work. And Zach, just got a report from Nick Crawford. Feels like the tires fall off quickly, and then they slowly taper off after that. Curious if those tire wear numbers are going to help out that 74 machine.
That's the thing. Nick is always prepared. He knows the situation, what situation is going to work best. And I think that's why we always see Crawford work so well in the strategy zone, because he's just that well prepped where he knows exactly what situation he wants to do. And that's what you got to be, is decisive and ready to make those moves. So we'll see how it plays out. If we have a race that has a few yellow flags thrown in there, the strategy is definitely going to be all over the place. And if the tires fall off quickly, that's going to give us opportunity for those off the wall strategies to work.
I know the field is hoping for long green flag runs, but if we look at the past, it's been a lot of cautions at these mile length flat courses. So the field also recognizing it could be a long day. We're hoping that it's not too long. You get to enjoy the racing all throughout this broadcast. And thank you again for joining with us. I know, Josh, we've got Joshua Stovall fans always out in the chat. Curious if there's anyone else that you're rooting for out there on course. Who's your favorite? Are you hoping for just a good day or for a win? We cannot wait to see those responses. But for us here this evening, the drivers are gritting up, and it's time to see who is going to be the most prepared as your starting grid. Up front, grabbing his first pole of the season, it's going to be Isaac Shelley in the 71 machine. Another driver who needs a good run just to get the momentum before the playoffs. It's your Season 2 champion, a Trent Jump, in the 42, going to be starting second. Our Dover winner from this season, Cody Reed, going to be starting in third, with Mark Whitley starting in fourth place in the 77. Fifth, we find Presley Sora with Thomas Green, Zach's pick in sixth. Seventh, we find Vincent Sora with Larry Yingling in eighth. John Forbes ninth, and finishing out our top 10 is going to be Robert Moyer Jr.'s pick of Nick Crawford in the 74.
Starting in 11th, this is going to be the fan favorite, the 42 of Joshua Stovall. In 12th alongside him, it's going to be the 99 of Michael Miller. Ali Fonseca is going to qualify at 13th, with Joshua Kanada taking home 14th. 15th is going to go to Samuel Garcia, with 16th position being held by Dakota Moniz. 17th is going to be a driver to watch out for tonight for sure, coming through the field. The 2 of Danny Cochran with his teammate alongside him, and 18th with Cedric Hunter. 19th is going to be the 00 Ethan Smith, and rounding out the top 20, it's Martin Morales.
And in 21st, these are all drivers that were not able to get times in, so their positionings are based off their iRatings official numbers that they earn while on the official races on iRacing. In 21st, it's going to be Jared Talmadge in 61, with Christopher Norris 22nd. Justin Sipes going to be in 23rd, with Tyler Dangler 25th. And showing up here late, excited to see how they're going to run. You've got Jesse Thornock in the 20 machine, and as well, Justin Forbes in the 4, starting 27th. That's going to be all 27 drivers going to be getting prepared to take the green here tonight for 135 laps. There will be a stage at the end of lap 30, but no stage yellow will be officially thrown. But if there is a caution that is brought up with an on-track incident between lap 25 and 30, that will count as the stage. As well, these drivers will not have a fast repair, just 4 extra sets of tires in pit road to work with. And the number I think that's going to really matter after our stage, if we don't get a late yellow, it might be just for the whole entire race. Fuel numbers, Zach, these drivers, they're in a set where they could try to turn this race into a one-stop if they go into extreme fuel mileage mode just from the start.
Very right, Sam. We can do it. So it's looking like the one-stop is possible for these drivers to do. I think the tires is going to be the question is, can you take it that 68 laps you'll need to do on one of those runs? So we'll see if one of the drivers attempts to do that, but I'm sure at some point we're going to see that yellow flag fly, and that's going to change a ton of strategy calls for these drivers.
One driver that's going to work their way through the field, John Forbes, given an EOL penalty after a pit road violation last week. So we're going to be seeing John Forbes work his way through the field as he'll start at the end of the line. But up front, Shelley Jump, ready for the start of tonight's race. Thank you once again for joining with us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You're watching the ISRC Lyra Productions Truck Series. The GOAT 135 at New Hampshire is underway, and it's Trent Jump who's going to have the nose ahead heading into turn 1 as Shelley, huge dive bomb move for the 71 machine on the inside. But here we go, Zach off the exit turn 2.
You would have think that the 71 would have had the power there to try to drive back down past him, but just couldn't do it. And I'm surprised he didn't take that outside line to start this race. So yeah, he's going to have to hold on to second here, as it's going to be on the outer groove, the 25 of Cody Reed trying to work his way around the top. But you also got the 77 of Mark Whitley, 3 wide down the front straightaway for second.
3 wide for second, and Mark Whitley is going to drive on the apron through 1 and 2. Vincent Sora was trying that same strategy and was finding a little bit of help for himself. Still going to be a little stacked 3 wide. Mark Whitley is not giving up for second place, and the reason why, you need every position possible. Also, an update of a driver further on back on lap 1 on the exit turn 2. Jesse Thornock did spin out for the 20 machine. He continues to stay on track, no required damage. But up front, Shelley, Cody Reed, they continue to fight for second place. Mark Whitley will fall to 4th.
Willie's going to fall in line, but now it's going to be immediately underneath him. The 18 of Thomas Green looking there is even the 12 Presley Sora is trying to make that inside work can be tough, but that's the key to passing here. If you can make the inside work, you will pass drivers. And right now you can see the 15 of Vince Sora trying to make the pass on his brother, the 12 of Presley Sora, but Sora, the older Sora on the outside, is able to pull alongside through the center of the corner and stay there, but the 15 is able to clear.
Vinny's able to clear, and the 12 left to stay in line, or Willie, because for a quick moment, Presley thought about getting underneath Vinny, but not otherwise. They'll stay in line, but behind them, it's still a lot of racing action. Larry Engling having to use the third lane. There's a lot of track behind that pure red machine of drivers trying to make passes, and they're going to be going 3 wide. It's Stovall on the outside. Michael Miller in that white and red in the middle, and starting out with white and red for himself. On the inside, it's the 16 of Kanata. Backs out. He's trying to get the run, and Kanata will still stay on the inside, and finally has to get in line and just watch this battle between the 42 and your white and red machine. Again, that's Michael Miller. Supposed to be the 99. Doesn't have a number here this evening, but on the exit of turn 2, we're seeing Kanata on the inside just getting fantastic runs for himself.
Oh, and almost contact from the 42 to the 67 on the entry there. It's Yingling way up the racetrack. So to try to get the good drive off as now his contact is Kanata.
Stovall just gets hooked, smash, and sinker as the back half of the field all have to come to a stop after that one.
That's going to be off the nose of the 99 of Michael Miller. So looks like from what I was seeing there, the 16 of Kanata a little bit loose there off the exit of 4. So Miller's going to kind of finish him off and clip that right rear and really cause a ton of mayhem here. Man, that was a heavy hit for some of those drivers.
Hard damage for Kanata, required damage, and you see it on the 42. Required damage for himself, heavy left front damage. And Stovall's just going to pass everybody and try to get to pit road as soon as possible. But here's another look at it, 3 wide. And I talked to Joshua Kanata coming into this race. He said he was going to be aggressive. He needed to make some big moves. And you're going to see there the 16 steps loose right in front of the 99 and everyone else starting to pile in. Danny Cochran also involved in that one. And a lot of the drivers that needed good days, Zach, caught up in this thing.
That they were. This was a tough break for a few of those drivers out there. And luckily, this track not the most important for aero when it comes to these trucks, but you're going to see here from on board Danny Cochran. He sees the 3 wide action in front of him. He's just running this bottom group, trying to make a nice good exit. Very low here. The 16 gets loose, the 99 into the back of the 16, and it's just a chain reaction of cars just getting into each other. Garcia, nowhere for him to go, gets slammed into Cochran, but it really could have been worse for the 2. He actually comes out a lot better than a few of them.
As into pit road, Garcia, Cochran, Jesse Thornock after his lap 1 incident, Kanata, Stovall into pit road. Luckily for Stovall and Kanata, required damage flags have been removed, so they've gotten that damage fixed. Now it's all the optional damage that they're going to have to work on. Cedric Hunter also getting repairs done. And with that wreck so early on, curious if the fact that these drivers that have 4 extra sets of tires, with how long of a green flag run we had there of being about 5 laps, I thought maybe someone further on back would have thought about risking coming into pit road and maybe thinking about tires for themselves, getting ready for this restart.
It very well could have been a worthy risk, especially with how many tire sets they have and you know, for tonight's race, and the fact that you really only need 1. If it went green, you need 1 extra set there in pit road you want to change out. So yeah, plenty of sets of tires left, but I think a lot of these drivers just knowing that it's early, and sometimes these early yellows can breed some other quick yellows, so maybe not willing to risk it right now.
As drivers get ready, it's going to be Trenton Jump, Shelley side by side once again for this restart, but this go around is Trenton Jump going to be the lead driver on the outside groove as they get in the restart zone. The GOAT 135 at New Hampshire is back underway, and that just proves when you're the lead driver and you've got that control on the restart, you can get a massive launch as Jump, Cody Reed, they are gone, and now it's the battle for third that you see on screen between Shelley and Mark Whitley, and Isaac Shelley's got to be kicking himself after that initial start.
Yeah, definitely is kicking himself not taking that outside line, because you just see how good it was for the likes of Trent Jump there who controlled that restart this time. So shows you not only is it good to be lined up there for the corner, but also just for the jump. So most people here, when you get that caution flag, they're going to be either wishing they're in the first position or that fourth position. Second or third usually puts you in no man's land. That kind of catches you out there. Whitley looking to clear a pole center of Shelley, and he'll get it done, but he is just going to get turned.
Oh, and around he goes. His driver's further on back to bring out a caution, but Mark Whitley might have been graced as Martin Morales goes around. As the 8 machine will bring out the caution, but Zach, Mark Whitley, that issue up front gotta be frustrating.
Definitely an interesting one because Whitley, I mean, he had him cleared. He did have him cleared off the exit. He got a little bit loose very late and very aggressive and risky for Whitley to continue to pull up in front of the 71 and puts himself there in the wall. So kind of a mistake there by himself, but we'll see exactly what happens here with this back group, because I think this is, like you said, where the caution does come out. So Whitley kind of got saved by the flag there a little bit.
He certainly did. It's going to be Martin Morales kind of just looping it on his own to the center of 1 and 2. And he's extremely low. And Zach, I mean, that low of going through 1 and 2, so difficult to make.
Oh, no doubt, Sam. It is almost flat down there. Sometimes it feels like it's opposite of the banking. You know, it's kind of like it's tilting your, farther on the right side than the left side of the track. So it is a very tough situation when you get down there sometimes. And the truck definitely gets upset as you cross across those seams because the banking change from the slabs of asphalt, with the lanes.
As drivers going to be going back into pit road, Danny Cochran going to get service done, as well as Sim Garcia, Joshua Kanata, going to be seeing Mark Morales, Sipes, Jesse Thornock getting service done. Joshua Stovall going to be given the lucky dog for himself as he's trying to make his way through traffic to get his lucky dog, get back onto the lead lap for the 42. But for the rest of the field, 27 drivers entered here tonight. They all knew the chance of this race turning into a fight for every position. So tough to make passes, and Zach, we're already seeing big moves you have to make to go for these passes just for 1 to 2 positions.
No doubt. And if you get the outside positioning on someone, or you see the chance to dive into someone's outside, you take that opportunity. And that's where the aggressive moves are going to come on a few of these restarts. Is drivers just really trying to either clear on the bottom. Sometimes you'll see that aggressive move from like Whitley there. Was clear for a moment, then that 71 gets to run off the corner while he spins the tires up. That door closes for the clearing of himself, and you just continue to slap the racetrack and put yourself in the wall. So it's tough. The timing there is very tough, because if you're Whitley, you want to clear. You want to make sure you're fully ahead, and that's why I think he took that risk. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off for him, and I think we'll see that happen a few more times here tonight, where drivers will take that same risk.
Mark Whitley deciding to stay out on a field, doesn't want to give up any track position, as he will kind of get a feel of what this truck is feeling after that slam into the outside wall. I mean, if you grab some damage, could help out the vehicle. Other damage you just don't want to pick up. And for Mark Whitley, didn't bring out a required damage flag, so he's not going to worry about it as he stays out on track.
That's for sure. Yeah, I think not going to worry about that for sure. These drivers just trying to get closer and closer to that stage break. Of course, not a break, so I don't need to say stage break, but that stage number, because we will not have that caution flag flying there for that. So we'll see who are in the positions for that, but that will quickly come up here with us going back green here soon.
Yeah, and that was a change of rules here in the middle of the season, with turning from a stage break to just simply a stage and taking away the absolute caution flag. It happened at Gateway a few weeks ago, and Gateway and Auto Club have been the only racetracks that we've had the opportunity to try to race through a stage. But we've had a caution right at that window that we talk about of 5 laps to the stage. If there's a caution there, that will count as a stage break, and it's happened the last 2 times. We'll see if here tonight we drive through that lap 30 and find ourselves continuing to stay green. We got a feeling, though, it's all about those stage bonus points. Only the top 10 get the bonus points, and drivers are going to fight and claw for everything, even if it means just for 1 to 2 positions. Up front, though, it's Trent Jump. Cody Reed into the restart zone. We're green. Jump gets a good launch. Cody Reed, a little bit of wheel spin, but he'll stay side by side with Shelley for the battle for second.
And see, this time Shelly has the upper hand by being able to restart in that fourth position. Now he's going to slide past Cody Reed. Reed's going to be in the same position that Shelly was before. Is Whitley behind? Big slide as Thomas Green will get to the outside of the 77. That'll make the pass for fourth. Whitley back to fifth as he's trying to make that bottom lane have some type of usage.
Drivers that are inside of our top 10 really have only been able to move up 1 to 2 positions if you advance. Everyone outside of our top 10 have been able to move up 3 or more positions. Biggest mover is Jared Talmadge and John Forbes, the only 2 drivers that have really been able to get over 5 or more positions for themselves. They've done a great job so far. As look at other drivers on the march here. 7-4 Nick Crawford up 2 positions as you see that 12 machine and Presley Sora make the pass.
All these drivers have been kind of swapping spots in the restart, so they know that it's just kind of one of those situations where you want to be in the even number. So if you're Nick Crawford, yeah, you want to get the pass done on President, but if you have another quick caution here, restart 8th, you're most likely to get that position done anyway easier. So interesting to see how that plays out, but 3 wide up ahead of them, I think right there to 77 of Whitley as Thomas Green goes around.
Green goes around, and he'll try to lock it down the inside, and Green losing all that track position that he worked to gain back, and it goes away in a blink of an eye as they were exiting at turn number 2. Just that 3 wide racing squeezed up, and it was the middle driver that gets costed.
It was definitely that middle driver, and excuse me, I said Isaac Shelley was the driver he made contact with. It was the 25 of Cody Reed here, as we're getting to see this, is Thomas Green running that outer groove. He was trying to, make the move on Mark Whitley, but Whitley was doing a great job working that bottom side. He actually pulls alongside Cody Reed. So at this moment, they're just 1 to 2 wide, and then Thomas goes through the middle here, and this is a good line from Thomas. Just really a bad line from Cody Reed, just being way up out the groove. He gets loose, Green gets into him, and then just as the 18 runs, it kind of bells out the 25, and the 18 gets sent out.
Yeah, I mean, for Cody Reed, for some drivers, they'll say, hey, why didn't the 25 move up a little bit more? I mean, for Cody, if he moved up a little bit more, he'd have to let off the throttle, he'd lose track position, and losing 1 position up front could take you all race to get that spot back. And so Cody keeps his foot in the throttle, was not expecting, I don't think, for them to stay 3 wide off the exit of the corner, and sadly, it was Thomas Green sent around. Luckily for Green, I think the big thing you take away is the fact that he didn't hit the wall. And it was just a small little tail slapper, so he'll be able to recover from this incident. It's just he's got a lot of traffic to work through.
That's right. It's just a lost track position more than anything. So it's not the end of the day. It's still got plenty of life still left in it for Thomas Green, but just a tough break. He'll have a lot of hard work cut out for him there. It was just definitely some good hard racing there for that 3rd position that set these drivers up for that. So not surprised to see that happen a few times, but it's just continuing a little bit of this yellow streak where, again, drivers are going to get more and more aggressive as these continue.
As we are coming up to lap 20 when they cross the line here, that's going to put us 11 laps to go left in the stage. Stage will end at the end of lap 30 as we start 31. Top 10 drivers will get themselves bonus points at that time of the stage. And if we have a caution that is thrown between lap 25 and 30, that would count as the stage as well. So these drivers know this next restart going to be critical because it's going to be the final restart before the stage. And if you're just outside of the top 10, it's go time. If you're Christopher Norris on 38, he feels decently comfortable, but would prefer a couple of more bonus points heading into these final 2 races of the regular season. Cedric Hunter, who currently runs 15th, he's a driver that's been looking decently well, and all of them are hoping for a good run on this next restart to get bonus points to feel good for these next 2 races as we head back to Mile and a Half Racing. After tonight, we go to Charlotte and then Atlanta Motor Speedway. And Zach, I was talking to some of the drivers. I mean, after tonight, it kind of goes back to that more traditional tracks that a lot of the drivers really enjoy racing.
That's exactly right. I think these are some of the drivers' top favorite tracks coming up. I mean, Charlotte, first off, a great mile and a half, has really aged well, and it just seems like every car on the service races well at Charlotte. Then, of course, you got Atlanta, 2008 version. Some of the drivers' favorites out there just due to its old surface, the wearing out of tires, the multi-groove racing. Should be quite a show these next 2 weeks, but They got to get through New Hampshire tonight. They knew it. I think a lot of drivers had this one circled as one. If they could get through, they had good feelings about the next two, because this track, again, always just, 1 mile in length, super long straightaways, no banking in the corners. Just really equates to some wild racing.
Top 5 drivers have stayed inside of the top 5. Only change, your top 2 have swapped back and forth between Jump and Shelly. Outside the top 5, been a lot of movement from Rex to pit stop strategies to not being able to hold track position. We'll see though on this next restart, where it's going to be 9 laps to go in the stage. Let the pressure cooker heat up. It's time to go as Trent Jump into the restart zone, gets a good launch. He's gonna have Cody Reed staying side by side with Shelly for second place as they roar down into turn number 1.
Great start, of course, from Trent Jump there, but that inside line there, Isaac Shelley did a really good job to get the jump with that inside, and he's able to stay alongside Cody Reed. As Reed a little loose on that outside once again, and as they keep it side by side, Whitley's going to think about it. 3 wide here down into 3 and 4. Are we going to see a repeat of what we've seen before?
And we've seen drivers slide up. Mark Whitley going to be staying low as the drivers on the outside. Shelly able to get the run. Mark Whitley will stay side by side with Cody Reed as they head into turn number 1. But up front, leading almost every lap here tonight of the GOAT 135 so far, is Trent Jump. And he loves the position he's in as Shelly trying to make the run down to catch him. But watch out for that blue and black machine in 5th place. Vincent Sora looks like he is just waiting for his chance to pounce and send it 3 wide.
That he is. I think he's waiting for that opportunity, and it may open its opportunity here to him as Whitley closes the door on Reed. Now Sora looks to the inside of the 25, Cody Reed, who looks to be struggling a little bit. It seems like maybe the rear tires starting to fade a little bit for that 25, as others around him just seemingly have much more traction and exit speed coming off these corners. So Reed right now in a little bit of a struggle, but it's going to be a fight on his hands because, he's got the 15 Sora there. And even Reed, I mean, running way up the racetrack. It just shows you at Magic Mile here at Loudon, you can do really any line.
Yeah, this is the big thing about iRacing is for a while there it was you had to stay low, then it was you had to stay on the far outside. Now variation, this is what we love to see with the new packages that iRacing's been making, and with Cody Reed's little slip up, Sora conquers into 4th. Still gotta say top 5 drivers still the same, seeing a lot of these drivers staying up front. One that's falling backwards though, Presley Sora back to 8th place. We'll see how the 12 can react here because he's starting to get swarmed by drivers that are on the go. One of those being John Forbes and Christopher Norris trying to get inside of the top 10.
Forbes has been really climbing his way through, trying to do a lot of work here to get up there, but it's just been stuck on the bottom a lot of times, I've noticed, for John Forbes. So he's been the one making the big moves, just not really making big headway yet. So we'll see if he can make this stick, because he's going to look here inside. This is going to be possibly 3 wide. Fonseca, Sora, and the likes of John Forbes. But I think the 11 just going to run out with a little bit ahead of steam there. It's just going to keep 2 by 2 off of Forbes.
They stay in line. Thanks, Christopher Norris will settle behind them. As also ahead, you're seeing the bumper of the 12, Presley Sora, trying to stay in position. And it's so much fun when these drivers are able to make the apron work here at New Hampshire. It's fun to see, and for the 11, he's gonna ship it down there. One of the few drivers you can truly trust. If he's gonna go down low, that 11 is gonna stick down there as he makes it work. But Sora close to the outside wall for the 12. He has to back off just for a quick moment. It almost gave an opportunity for Norris to dive down low as Forbes and Fonseca almost make contact into 1.
Close racing by this group here for sure. Everybody willing to risk it, so it seems here, as you know that the passing is tough. So I think for John Forbes, that's why he's risking these moves right now, as he's looking to that inside of Fonseca and trying to go forward. As they also have the 99 of Michael Miller, who's a little high off the exit of 4. That's going to check up the outside line. That allows John Forbes to continue his momentum on the bottom.
Again, we are praising the 11. We know he's a skillful driver as Cody Reed continues to struggle. That's going to be John Forbes' teammate. He sees in front of him in the 21 as well in the 74. But for John Forbes, he started this race with an end-of-the-line penalty, and he start all the way back in last place. And he's cracked the top 10, soon to be getting inside of the top 5 after this whole entire run, as we're about to be starting our last lap of the stage. And Zach, no yellow needs to be thrown. We can race through this, and it's going going to be the first time we get to see that this season.
That is cool to see, and it's going to be interesting because it's going to throw up some strategy here of when do these drivers really want to elect to pit. Do they do the two-stop strategy? Do they do the one-stop? I think most will, stick to that one-stop strategy, so you'll probably see pit stops not until around lap 68 if we were to stay green, but we'll see how this works out because right now everybody utilizing the lanes, but some drivers definitely starting to struggle, like we said with Reed. Just seems like the grip fading away for the 25.
And it's going to be based off of who crosses the line in which position for who's going to have the bonus points. But your stage winner, driver that's led every lap so far, congratulations to Trenton Jump, who will take the stage and a fantastic run for himself. Shelley will take third with Mark Whitley, Vincent Sora, Nick Crawford, John Forbes, Cody Reed, Ollie Fonseca, Michael Miller, as Christopher Norris will take that final buffer spot for our stage as these drivers continue to race on. The biggest gap is our leader to second place. Everyone else still fight for every position in the middle as you see it all just log jammed in front of Danny Cochran and that 61 of Jared Talmadge.
This is really, like you said, a log jam there as Cochran will make the move on Talmadge. That moves him back up into that 13th position. Now he'll be behind Presley Sora, who's got the 99 of Miller, who really it's Miller. I've noticed it's the 25 of Reed, the 99 of Michael Miller, both really struggling to have to run way up the racetrack for their trucks to be able to have any speed. And that's really creating that log jam that we got here. So we're starting to see a few others starting to come in here now. Is even Thomas Green in the 18. He's poking his nose, or his teammate of Jared Talmadge in the 61.
Thomas Green went for a slide, did not go into pit road though. Once he slid, he just has been marching his way forward with the same set that he slid on. And it is still working as he's trying to get to the inside, but seeing teammates Cody Reed, Christopher Norris for Snowy Desert Racing swapping hands as Norris up to 8th. Cody Reed falling now to 9th place, was once battling for that lead position. The tires have really just fallen away for Cody Reed. I mean, Zach, what could it be attributed to this 25 just right now falling like a rock through this group, and he's getting him into the danger zone?
I think right there early in the race just really was racing very hard to defend positions and just always looking to go for it. Sometimes it's better just to let the truck come to you when you're up there in those better starting spots instead of really fight for those positions. And I think sometimes, the 25 there fought a little too hard. Maybe the rear tires overheat. It's just a continuous cycle. Once they overheat once, they just continue to see some passes being made on Michael Miller there as now Cochran looks to the outside of Cody Reed up ahead. The two seems to be quite on the move.
There's some drivers, you look for the number. For Michael Miller, it's look for no number. The white and red not having a number here tonight on his scheme. So for us, he's the lone driver with no number on the side, as that 99 will continue to just drive on the outside groove, falling backwards and in trouble with Sora, Thomas Green. Green, though, in the 18's got to be careful because it seems like he wants to run the outside groove, but he has to go down low. Almost was boxed in, able to find some openings to get through and taking a chance to go 3 wide off the exit of turn 2. The 18 not willing to just be patient, sees an opportunity, and he will grasp it. Here goes the dive bomb move by Green, forces Sora up. And that's all the spacing the 18 needs for himself to take 2 for 1 off the exit of turn 4, but Sora says no. They'll drag race off of 4.
All 3 of them trying to put the power down, wiggling the rear ends as they exit off of 4 there. That is just some great racing right here. And New Hampshire putting on quite a show as it just shows you again, you can run really anywhere on this racetrack and make speed. The 18 was all at the bottom. The 12 was in the middle. The 99 there all the way up in the 3rd groove. So really equates to some great racing, and we're getting to see a lot of that here tonight so far.
We certainly are, and it's always the middle of the pack, it seems like, this season. That's been giving us the best show. At moments, it was drivers further in the back that was racing for last that would give us this best marks, but really it's been the middle, as it's going to be seen Cedric Hunter and Cody Reed trying to battle between one another for 10th place. And for Cedric Hunter and for Danny Cochran in the 2, they're in interesting spots. Cedric Hunter was part of the group that pitted early in this race just for fuel. The 2 of Danny Cochran in 8th place, though, took tires. He's one of the few drivers that took tires under our last caution. And the 2 is making those tires work as he's now moved up to 7th place and making the charge to try to run down our top group. But he's got a lot of work as he's 2.8 seconds off our leader.
He has really got a good head of steam. When he's got clean track, I've been watching his lap times, definitely the quickest on the racetrack, and it's showing for those tires. Is it looks like Whitley up ahead has gotten past Isaac Shelley, but Shelley actually gets back to the inside. So the battle for second still on, as Whitley has been on to get to the outside, and I think we'll get that job finally done on Shelley. But actually, I'm saying he'll get it done. He holds course.
Yeah, the battle for second place now going to be the battle between second, third, and fourth as Vincent Sora takes an opportunity to the outside groove, trying to go with an early apex to drive down the apron off the exit of the corner in the 15, able to make the charge work in all the different styles of you can drive around this track. I mean, that's what's fun about this track, Zach, is there are so many different styles that you can go around this course. It's not just one that everyone has to do.
It is very fun to watch. I'd say is from the drivers, it's a handful. Just seeing how much they're having to work these wheels of these race trucks. But I will say this much, it is definitely fun for us to watch up here. And it's just, it's a breath of fresh air for the drivers when they get to have this opportunity to really make speed in any lane. A lot of times we go to some tracks and it'll just be a one-lane track where you have to, run the fastest times you can in what groove. But here tonight, it looks like anywhere on the track is available is some very wild lines are being shown.
This has been fun all around as these drivers didn't have to think about a stage caution coming out. This is the first time we were able to drive through it, and now we get to see the battle for second place, a battle that we've been waiting for at a different mile flat track. And with the start of one of the best rivalries ever between Mark Whitley and Vincent Sora as they get by the lap car, the 4 of Justin Forbes, who's having a little bit of trouble for the Gravedigger machine. But Zach, looking at a little bit of nostalgia from season 1 of the ISRC. It's Sora, it's Mark Whitley, side by side on a flat track.
Great race between these two right now as Nick Crawford riding on board with. He's going to get the great vantage points. Look at these guys. They're going to be racing hard side by side. Crawford says, you know what? I'm going to go way up the racetrack here, cut myself nice down here and get a good run on you boys side by side. But looks like those two, even though they're side by side, have a great exit. So keeps this racing nice and even. But that 77 knows whoever gets past here has the best opportunity to go run the 46 down. But there you go. Vince Sora makes the apron work, and he's forward in a second.
And the one driver that enjoyed all that battling, that held up this group, it's the 2 lingering behind. Danny Cochran has now cut the difference, almost a full second from the last time we talked about him, but he's got a lot of traffic to get through to try to run down Trenton Jump. Jump's got a little bit of traffic, yes, to get by, but the 2 machine of Danny Cochran, he's got the most work as Nick Crawford gets underneath Mark Whitley, and I think Mark Whitley's tires damage is starting to show on this long run, but watch out for this 2 machine as he's trying to find an opportunity to get by this group.
Some great racing right now as you got Crawford, Whitley, Alexis Shelley, Forbes, and Cochran all stacked up on top of one another. And right now, all of these drivers quicker than our leader of Trenton Jump, other than Whitley that last time by. So right now, everybody trying to run down the leader while racing each other.
They're doing a great job at it. But Isaac Shelley in the 71, coming in with a different picture than most, comes in 17th in points. Danny Cochran entering here tonight as one of the fighters, 16th in points. Both, with how the points have been looking, both might be in a must-win scenario entering tonight just to make sure they're locked in. So the 71 and the 2 both know it's go time as pit road is calling for Thomas Green and Stitz.
Wow. This is a very early stop for these drivers. I am surprised to be seeing this, Sam. Looks like 2-stop is what it's going to be for this group. So this is early in the zone for what I was thinking we'd see, but we'll see if others elect to follow them down, because right now it's just those 2 at the moment.
I think though, for both of them, they hit the early slides. Both didn't take tires during those cautions. So they had to come into pit road. The tires were just too cooked. They needed more assistance, so they had to make that audible call. But I'm with you. I don't know if this is going to be the right call to watch out for, but it is for our leaders at least a second off the pace from their fastest lap to what they ran the last lap, as John Forbes gets underneath Nick Crawford for 4th place, and the 11 from last to the top 5. What a charge it's been for the 11. I mean, it's been incredible to see Danny Cochran's push with fresh tires, but this has been impressive by John Forbes.
Oh, Forbes has been so fun to watch. I tell you, he was stuck there for a while, just running the bottom. I just noticed he had great pace. He just was stuck behind people, and it's continuing the show because he's continuing his march forward. But they're going to have the likes of the 2 of Cochran here right now. And that 2 machine, definitely the quickest truck on the racetrack. He's going to look to the inside here, possibly make it 3 wide as they're coming up to Thornick with the lap traffic. This could get interesting. Nick Crawford going to have to back out of it. Smart decision from the 74 team.
Backs out, trying to get by Thornick. He'll stay on the outside group, backs out, let this group drive on by. And Danny Cochran, fresh rubber, able to push his way forward. But drivers who just pitted, Chris Stitz, you see it on your top right, fastest lap of anyone on track. What helps? Fresh tires. What also helps? The track is cooling off. It is over 13 degrees cooler than it was during practice, Zach. These drivers were shocked on how warm it was during practice. They got a lot of work on what the temps were going to look like, but it is cooled off. Still ridiculously hot for the track temp, 108 degrees, but much cooler than 123, which it was when the session first opened up.
Oh, it's for sure cooled down a good bit. You still got that southwest wind at 4 mile with about 11% humidity. Nice day out here, and it's producing some nice racing with the clear skies. It's really making the track really just cool off at a very consistent rate. It's not happening at nothing wild, but I tell you what, as this run goes on, the tires are fading for a lot of people. Some people coming into their own. Christopher Norris, he is flying.
He has really found his own groove. He is on the charge. And we talked about some drivers maybe being impatient, saving their tires. Some may save it for too long. But if you're going for a one-stop, this is the perfect time to just release all that you have. And that's what Christopher Norris is doing right now. The 38, able to get by his teammate Nick Crawford. Now going to be on the inside trying to get by Mark Whitley. Christopher Norris in the 38 currently runs 6th, but he's running just as fast as Thomas Green, who pitted for tires just 5 laps ago.
Wild scenes here as Green is going to get past that grouping. Cochran and 11 of John Forbes were going at it. Cochran threw a big slider there into the corner, just couldn't make it stick. As now Christopher Norris, he's making the move to pass Mark Whitley. He's going to be coming up on these 2 up ahead, and this is some interesting stuff. Other than Christopher Norris, Vince Sora, the fastest truck on the racetrack, but there's a truck sliding there, maybe want to save it.
Sliding, saving, big runs all around, and able to continue to race on. Looking back at some of those drivers, they had a big whoa up, and I believe that was the 80 machine of Justin Sipes, who just came into pit road to get service done for the 80. He'll now be on the charge, trying to get by traffic and trying to run down Cedric Hunter to try to unlap himself, if possible, for the 80 machine. We've had a few drivers pit. Thomas Green, one of the first. Then we've had Isaac Shelley, Sipes coming to pit road, as well as Ethan Smith and Dakota Moniz get service done. Update for one of the drivers that we were hoping to have his segment at some point during this race, but it looks like his race is over too soon. It's Joshua Kanata in the 16 in that American Red Cross machine. His race done. Engine blew up 20 laps ago.
Tough break for Kanata, who needed points here tonight, and that is going to be such a tough break for him. As now we check out the 24 of Ali Fonseca. He's running this 8th position just behind the likes of Nick Crawford, but he's going to have Justin Sipes here running up behind him on the 80, who has those fresher tires. That was a close call there for that. The Sipes just so much more speed on the fresh tires there.
And I'm curious for the drivers that just pitted for tires. We've seen some, we've seen a few feel comfortable, go driving down on the apron and drive down there. There have been a couple of drivers where we really have not seen that comfortability really show, as Tyler Dangler, kind of in his no man's land, currently runs back in 16th position, as we see here in the Barbie machine. But drivers that are getting fresh rubber, going down the apron, some maybe didn't practice that. They maybe didn't know that that was an option. I'm curious if maybe some of those that just got fresh rubber, they're going to have a more difficult time getting through the field with that fresh rubber, knowing that that is an option they didn't practice for it.
It's very true, Sam. If you don't have that figured out, you're going to be in an interesting situation, to say the least. It's right here, Thomas Green. He's got the looks ahead of him here. This is actually going to be right ahead of our leaders, who are actually battling for the lead. So Vincent Sora now looking to the inside of Trenton Jump is the 15 trying to make the move for the lead. Thomas Green running away from one of the fresh tires, as you see right behind him. Here you go, 15 of Vincent Sora diving down here into 1. I think this is going to be a pass that he's going to get done. The 46 just has not had the drive off.
And right now, Vincent Sora needs to make this pass immediate. The more they fight side by side, the more opportunities they're going to have behind them. Of Shelley making this more difficult, but catching up quickly is one of the fastest drivers on track right now. Danny Cochran and Christopher Norris are catching these two. Shelley gets by jump, but Vincent Sora might lose a little bit more ground here as the 2 and the 38 are making the charge at the moment. As Shelley a little bit wiggles though in the middle. The 71 holds on as he powers off the exit 2.
Ooh, that was a close call there with them fresh tires. Is now Shelley going to be on the inside of Vincent Soares. They're going to be coming up to the 4 of Justin Forbes, who's going to be putting down a second lap here as the 4 into the outside wall. As you can see from Christopher Norris's point of view, not that far behind the leader. Norris doing an excellent job as he's got the 2 of Cochran right there above him and really finding speed on that very low group.
It has been impressive to see what Christopher Norris has right now on pace. I mean, again, he's part of the group that is yet to pit for tires, and he's running just as fast as Danny Cochran, who took tires 19 laps ago. The advantage should have gone to the 2, but instead it's been the driver that's been patiently waiting for this long run that's running down this group.
Christopher Norris in an excellent spot now, but you can see the 80 of sights. He's going to go to the outside of Cochran. This is going to open up the door more for the 38 here to get past the 2, because the 2 being able to get held up a little bit there on exit. Is now the 38 alongside into 1 and 2. Can Christopher Norris make this passes? Both Cochran and Norris quicker than Trenton Jump when they're side by side.
And looking back at drivers, just making their stop, going to be Michael Miller in the 99 machine as he's leaving his box now. We still have over 16 drivers that need to pit as they're marching closer and closer to this one stop around that. We're looking to be around lap 70. Could be the call for some of these drivers to make that stop. And with the fact that we've had a couple of cautions early in this race, that helps the fuel, but it's been all about the tires as Christopher Norris almost clear to get by the 2 and immediately his next competitor directly ahead.
Oh, and he's going to get loose there off the exit of 2. He was clear off of 4, just didn't close the door. Was playing actually really nice with Cochran there, and he's going to be able to go right back to the inside here to see if he can get it done, because the 46 of Jump they're catching up to, if he can use Jump as a pick, that could possibly be exactly what the 38 needs, but he's going to have enough run here. Doesn't close the door there, so that's interesting to see, but he's going to have the clear down into 1 and 2. Christopher Norris now into P3.
Doesn't clear it, but I think also it might be a comfortability thing. He's just been running down low, staying low this whole entire time. It's run the shortest distance around this track, and it is working out as Vincent Sora has been able to build up the gap over a second. But again, we keep our eyes out on this battle for second place because Christopher Norris, I've been talking about it the last couple of weeks, been just looking for where is the killer instinct for this 38. It feels like it's been lost for the majority of this season. We found Christopher Norris once again, and it's at a mile track, flat, hard braking, shifting. This is a specialty for this 38 machine.
It really is his specialty. This kid is impressive to see. He's good at the road courses, really good at these short tracks that take a lot of finesse and a lot of shifting, braking, all the things you need to do at a road course. He does very well here, even though now he's going to be getting passed by that 00 of Ethan Smith on those fresher tires as they're going to be coming up to that 46. But the 46 seems to kind of stabilize his times a little bit here with a 32.0, but the 38 immediately charging up to him with that 00, looking to the outside. It's caution on the racetrack.
Caution's out, and it's the 4 of Justin Forbes off the exit of turn 4. And we talked about how he'd been hitting the wall a couple of times. It looks like he might have hit it at a bad angle off of turn number 4. You see, even off of 2, he was already bouncing off, and he'll, I believe it was going to be the next time it went around the corner. But the 4, he's been struggling here tonight. And when you're a driver that's learning, and this is one of your first times running at this type of a track, it is so hard to get it right.
It is so tough. This track is, you know, they call it the magic mile. It's not really magic, though. It can be a nightmare of a mile. So we'll see what happens here. Forbes, he's going to go way deep here down into 3 and 4. But he's going to bounce off the wall here on the exit. As you can see here, just really high on the exit. Angle is wrong, bounces off that wall and into the inside wall. And that's going to bring the yellow out. And a lot of drivers who pitted are going to be just saying, man, oh man, why didn't I stay out?
Yeah, Thomas Green, Isaac Shelley, luckily we're on the lead lap, but they're going to be all the way back in 18th, 17th position, stuck 1 lap down. going to be seeing the likes of Samuel Garcia, Dakota Moniz, Michael Miller, Jesse Thornock, and also Joshua Stovall going to be having their issues. But pit road going to be calling for these drivers here tonight. It's going to be seeing Vincent Sora, 4 tires and fuel for everyone here this evening. And Zach, this is going to be an interesting moment because I'm curious on how many drivers are going to think about after this pit stop, going into pit road and topping off again, or do they feel confident they can make it to the end of this race with this pit stop?
Oh, it's going to be close here, Sam, especially with these caution laps added in. It's going to be very, very close. If I'm one of these drivers, you might not be shifting for a little bit on this next run because the shifting will have a factor when it comes to that fuel mileage, and we'll see if you know that shakes things up. But man, it's definitely right on the edge of the fuel window.
It's going to be an interesting one to watch, and I think for us, we will take our first commercial break of the evening as we are closing in on halfway here tonight. I want to say thank you to everyone that's joining with us here on your Monday evening, watching the ISRC Lariat Production Truck Series race number 10 here this evening. The GOAT 135 at New Hampshire. Been a fun one to watch. Don't want to miss it. We'll be back with more racing after this. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Green flag racing as they are already scattering 2-3 wide down into turn number 3. And up front, Trenton Jump going with a little bit of a drift, giving an opportunity for Christopher. Oh no! Flipping! Oh goodness gracious! Trouble striking further on back. I don't even know who that was flipping. It looked like it was maybe Tyler Dangler that went flying up into the sky and into the catch fence.
It was. Tyler Dangler went for a ride. It was Jared Talmadge who had the loose condition and spin into Tyler Dangler. As you can see, wow, right there as he gets launched into the catch fence. Is wild scenes here as everybody was a little bit loose and wild here going down into the corner. Dangler's going to see a lot of this happening, but really no way for him to react here. So he's just minding his own business. So they up the groove and boom, he's going fly.
That is not the way that you want to be interacting with the track. Gets on all 4 and will continue to race on, but required damage was given to the 19. Oh, but man, that wreck. We can take another look at it. I mean, that was a huge wreck, and there were some monster players around this incident. I mean, you have Shelley, you got Mark Whitley here. These are all drivers that, Thomas Green, this is huge competition you're not expecting to be involved in around this incident. As you can see, Mark Whitley diving low, Shelley's down low, and it's a lone 19 on the outside, just trying to survive. But Shelley gets involved there. It's just every driver's act that needs a good run. I feel like they've been getting caught up in wrecks.
New Hampshire has been a disaster for those drivers for sure, Sam. It's not been a great night for them. Dingler just taking the wild ride there, but with the timing of this yellow, this is going to help that fuel situation. We talked about how it was right on the edge of the window. Well, this caution here, in my opinion, should make these drivers good to make it to the end if we were to go green. And of course, if we got that green white checkered, that would be an interesting scenario. I think most would be pitting.
As Daimler still has required damage, couple of fake moves for drivers all around, but taking the run up front, Vincent Sora, what a charge for himself. I gotta say though, that caution really helping out Trenton Jump, because he got snapping loose and he was gonna lose more positions than just the one that he lost to Christopher Norris. He did not look like he had any momentum, and that caution really helping out the drivers up front.
Oh, for sure. Definitely helped the field, because not only, like we said, was Jared Tomlin getting loose there going off to a corner, but there was so many of them up front that were having problems. I think Cochran was one of them, had a big issue there, and we'll see how this works out now. I mean, you got the Cochran Sora Racing teammates up here together up into the front, so see how they work these restarts. Christopher Norris now, of course, we've seen his long run pace, but how is his short run pace going to last? Because he kind of came out of nowhere. That's what I'm trying to think is, are you going to have to give up spots here to do that same type of saving and have that same type of speed late in the run? Or will we just see those drivers be the ones to be the fight it out the most?
It's going to be big questions all around as we're getting ready to go green here in just a few moments. Curious, we could take a look at the 16 truck that sits on pit road. I know Joshua Kanata spent quite a bit of time this week as Florida was dealing with a lot of horrific hurricanes the last couple of weeks, and wanting to help out and give a shout out to the American Red Cross. If you text Red Cross to 90999, go help and donate to help with the relief. Thank you so much to everyone that's already tried to help in relief donations to Florida that was really hit by these last two hurricanes. And it's been a crazy hurricane season, but I know Josh Kanata was hoping for a better day, but the 16's got 2 more races. I think he's now in a must-win scenario as his night is over. But up front, I don't think the chaos is over though, as we got Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran. How are the teammates going to play nice here on this restart, or will they? Then you've got Christopher Norris, Trenton Jump, John Force, Nick Crawford, Snowy Desert Racing, Armadillos. They're ready to go as green flag is out of the air for the GOAT 135.
We'll see here. Vince Sora was electing to take the bottom there with his teammate Cochran on that restart, and Cochran is able to stay alongside here. So can the two fight for the lead now, or does this teammate Vincent Sora look to get past them? This is interesting to see.
I mean, we have heard about Snowy Desert Racing, how they've talked about, they want to help the teammates out, help the teammates get into victory lane. Are we going to see that from Cochran Sora Racing with Danny Cochran, also from Vincent Sora? Will they play nice to help Danny Cochran make the playoffs? Because the 2 is practically in a must-win scenario as Vincent Sora backs out on the entry of the corner, gives the lead to the 2 of Danny Cochran.
Cochran to the lead, and this is going to be interesting to see, because if he gets a win, this shakes up so many things. It really allows him to feel a lot of pressures off. I mean, he's still got to be top 20 in points, but definitely could take a lot of pressure off of that too, trying to get his way to fight for another championship, while drivers farther back such as Thomas Green are trying to recover from the incident earlier, as he's going to go around the outside of Cody Reed and Ali Fonseca.
Multiple drivers over the radio just giving a lot of, woo, we made it through that issues. I was off the exit turn 4. There were multiple drivers breaking loose. Another driver breaking loose in the middle of the field. It's Mark Whitley in the 77 having some issues as he snaps loose right in front of Ethan Smith. Smith able to make the pass, and other drivers trying to find ways to get by the 77, which, Zach, this has been the weak point. Mark Whitley can look strong early on when he's in clean air. He gets in traffic. It just looks like the 77 just falls apart.
This season has been a tough one for that exact thing. It's just been, as the race goes on, things get worse for him. He has some bad luck play out, and right now Whitley definitely on the struggle bus trying to make his way back forward as he's on the inside of Ethan Smith here down the back straightaway, trying to claw his way back to the top 13. But at one point, this 77 was in the second position fighting for possibly a win. Now, the struggle after that long run, he's going to have to make up for it.
Another big thing, reason why Mark Whitley is so far back is spent extra time in pit road getting damage repair after being involved in an earlier incident between himself and Isaac Shelley. So 77's got some damage, work repaired, looks a little bit more clean, but he gives a bump and just shifts the 80 machine. Mark Whitley just sending Sipes to the shadow realm with that one.
Oh man, I had seen those two. You talked about Whitley. He had some had a loose moment there a couple hours before. There was contact between the 80 and the 77, and the 80 kind of crowded the 77. So I don't know if this is a little bit of I'm not gonna play no layover for you because you didn't really cut me any slack. So you're not gonna get any slack cut here either. As the 77, good drive off the exit of 2. They're just gonna get right there to the bumper of the 80. I don't know if the 80 had to suddenly lift. What happened exactly, but definitely the 77 into the rear of the 80, spinning him around.
He goes around, luckily for Sipes, no one makes contact, doesn't hit the wall, but Stovall almost made it a multiple car collision there. It's the 42 able to get around for himself. Stovall's been having a rough day, 2 laps down currently. And as long as Stovall did not go into the grass there, I believe that he should get the lucky dog and get another lap back as right on board with 42, just woo-hoo-hoo, hits the brakes, skates away. No contact, no issue. Lucky dog will be given the 42.
Great moment there for the 42 to get back. It's just a close call, of course, for him. As now with these quick yellows, it's definitely made the decision to come to pit road worth it. And I think a few drivers coming down, Cody Reed, the likes of Mark Whitley, of course, Isaac Shelley, Larry Yingling, Nick Crawford, Joshua Kanata, the Samuel Garcia, Martin Morales. So many drivers coming into pit road to get service done.
I mean, Mr. Gamble, Mr. from Las Vegas, going to be seeing Nick Crawford trying his chance to go out for another gamble here of pitting and being the leader. And I no surprise, I think it's been a talking point for the last couple of weeks after Nick Crawford got his second win of the season. It was, do we just follow Nick's strategy? And there were multiple drivers entering in. A teammate of Nick Crawford, Cody Reed, follows. Also Mark Whitley into pit road just to check on that vehicle, make sure it's okay, and get tires with Sipes, Freed, Yingling, which I think that's kind of another shocker. Larry Yingling, who's been one of the most consistent drivers of being inside of the top 10, been struggling to get top 5 finishes for the 67, but he's back in 18th position. We have not talked about Larry at all in that red machine.
Nah, after that first wreck, really, the event earlier, really haven't talked about him much, and we'll see, if he can climb his way up there. Yingling is one of those drivers where he'll run back farther here. He's been struggling in this series so far, but he just always can figure out a way just to get a decent finish and get those solid points that he's going to need. So we'll see what he can do to climb his way forward, but definitely an interesting strategy call with some of these drivers taking those tires, coming to pit road. It looks like, again, Crawford going to be that first one out. Back in 13th. We'll see if he can make his climb forward. The only thing I worry about is, yes, he does have 15 laps difference on tires, but a lot of these laps have been under yellow.
Split decision. Half the field staying out, half the field taking tires. We'll see who's going to have the better decision. It's going to be the teammates of Cochran Sora Racing up front, with Danny Cochran, Vincent Sora, then Trenton Jump in third, or stage winner. Christopher Norris fourth, with Presley Sora fifth, sixth being John Force, Thomas Green seventh, eighth, Cedric Hunter. That's another driver we've seen, been talking bits and pieces here and there. Cedric Hunter, one of the biggest mover in points, went from being the bubble driver last week to feeling very comfortable into the top 12. So he runs currently in 8th place. Ali Fonseca, another driver that's needing a good run here tonight, enters tonight's race 23rd in points. He needs to be inside the top 20 and with the win. And Ollie's going to have 2 opportunities after tonight. He's got that of Charlotte and Atlanta to try to make the playoffs. And I think that 24, could be a driver to watch out for, especially next week at Charlotte. But for up front, again, it's the teammates. They are ready for this restart. Danny Cochran ready for the launch. Surprisingly that he took the inside, but we'll see how the 2 can take off here on the Geico restart zone as the pace car about to make that hard left-hander to pit road. Tonight's race, it's the GOAT 138 at New Hampshire into the restart zone, and we are green for the Cochran Sora Racing teammates up front. It's the 2 with the run as he heads down into turn number 1.
Great start for Cochran, Danny Cochran there, as he's able to move up into the lead as gets the Sora able to slot into second, but it's going to be Christopher Norris who's got the likes of Trenton Jump there alongside him. Jump leading many of the first laps of the origin of this race. We'll see if Jump can kind of maybe save those tires a little better, because he was not struggling that bad. I think if Trenton is able to manage a little bit more, he'll be right in the mix on the longer run also.
Well, on the inside, you see that orange machine. It's the jack-o'-lantern of Nick Crawford, willing to go 3 wide all the way to the apron. 74 looks confident. He's leading the drivers who just came into pit road for tires. Also going to be Cody Reed, Mark Whitley. They're all on the charge to try to make the inside row work, but have to be careful. Seeing a lot of movement on the rear end for the 74, and that wiggles is what hurt Cody Reed on that long green flag run. 74's got to be careful here as he's making the way through traffic. As up front, single filed out. It's first side-by-side is with Crawford.
Crawford definitely being the one on the attack, so to say, is trying to use his new tires. I think it's going to take a little bit for those tires to start to show up a little bit too, because we saw Cochran, he had the fresher tires earlier. It really showed on the longer run. So if we get 20, 30, 40 laps into this run right here, I think that's where you're going to see the likes of Crawford, Reed, Whitley, others start to really show their pace advantage that they have on tires. Because right now it just seems like everybody running similar times, as it was close for that 74 back there. He almost makes contact with the 24s, the 12, and the 24 are racing hard ahead of him.
We're seeing a lot of trouble off the exit of the corners, and the closing rate with fresh tires compared to old is getting dangerous. Presley Sora, another big wiggle, forcing Crawford to go high. He'll finally get clear to drop down low, but Presley Sora getting in trouble, and this is going to hurt that inside row just slightly. But seeing drivers trying to make their march forward is almost 4 wide for a quick moment, but Mark Whitley takes advantage as everyone has to back off. Cody Reed also keeps his foot in the throttle. The 25-77 trying to push their way forward with the Sora and Miller mistake.
Excellent job by Whitley there to take advantage of that moment. And he's trying to work this inside once again, but it's loose off the exit. Reed gonna push him down the back straightaway here with Michael Miller up top. Can the 77 find the speed here to get alongside the 12 of Presley Sora? That's going to be the next on the list there for Mark Whitley, and doing a great job running that apron. It's always interesting to see drivers running down.
Yeah, I mean, the apron has been something that's utilized in the Cup series of different series that we've covered in the past. There's been moments, though, with iRacing updates that it kind of takes away that groove from being utilized. I feel like with these new updates that have come out from iRacing, they've re-brought that apron drive, and it has really given us life of different drivers using different lanes, and it's been fun to watch. When trouble strikes further on back, it's the 61 at Jared Talmadge that goes around on the backstretch.
Well, it looks like all by himself here in the grass. We'll see exactly how that all shook out. I think it's actually going to be just a self-spin by him off the exit at 2, so going to be pretty far behind the group, 1 lap down, running back into 24th is Jared Talmadge. He's right now, I think, more than anything, just trying to complete laps and just go out here and get this race done. And you're going to see he comes off the exit here, and this truck's just going to step out sideways immediately, and he's going to try to lift and gather it up, but just going to go sideways. Jesse Thornton goes by. That's going to bring out the yellow.
Yeah, that is just picture perfect of what every driver is dealing with every single lap. And sometimes you hold and you're able to save it. Most of the time, you're not. But this gives a chance for the other half of drivers that did not pit under our last caution to enter pit road, being led by Danny Cochran and Vincent Sora. But with this advantage of tires, that means you're going deep in the pack with traffic. So we'll see how this is going to be working out as we are on lap 90 of 135. It's been a pleasure to give you all the coverage here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Zach, I mean, 90 laps in, it's been a fun one. I mean, what has been the biggest things you've noticed so far with the short run, long runs that we've been seeing here this evening?
And what I've noticed really is you got to figure out how you want to manage that, that pace difference. So it's tough to decide if you want to go for that long run, but I think from now on, because just the length of the race we got left here with 45 laps to go, it's going to be pretty much everybody pushing full bore. It's going to be go time. And now with a lot of these drivers staying out, looks like Cochran's going to be the first one to run the race off pit road. First 7 stay out. It's going to be quite the interesting battle here. And I'm even interested because Nick Crawford, he came back down. I figured maybe he'd take 2 tires in the 74. He takes 4 tires once again.
That was a thing I was asking some of the drivers before we started the broadcast. A lot of them were saying we weren't expecting 2 tires, but just because of how loose this vehicle is off the exit, the risk to the reward was not worth it. In a lot of drivers' minds, they were going to be taking 4 tires all the way through, and that's what we've been seeing here all tonight. I haven't seen a single driver attempt 2 tires just because of that risky call of just breaking too loose.
You know, that's very true. When you put 2 tires on, a lot of times that's what will happen is you'll get a condition of the truck really want to over rotate in the corners, and it adds to that looseness condition. So yeah, I'm not too surprised to see nobody elect to do that, but just for the likes of Crawford to come back down and stick 4-1 just kind of confused me a little bit there. So he's going to be back all the way in 16th. So tough break for him there. I think he'll be thinking about that decision call, but now this is going to put the likes of Whitley, Cody Reed, Michael Miller, all these drivers up front in this field. Can they hold on with these tires, though, is going to be the huge question I think we're going to ask.
All drivers were given 4 extra sets to work with. Some drivers have taken 3 so far here tonight, and I think we're in a zone where maybe you've got 1, maybe 2 more opportunities to think about taking tires if we get a couple of more cautions rattling through. But I want to say thank you to everyone that's been watching with us this evening. If you've been enjoying the show, remember to hit that like button and comment down below who you're rooting for and what's been your favorite moment so far of the race, as we are just 92 laps in of 135. A lot more moments going to be birthing here this evening as Mark Whitley, Cody Reed going to be getting ready for this restart. Michael Miller in 3rd place, looking for one of his best finishes here this season, and tonight could be so crucial for that 99. His best finish for Michael Miller was back in race number 3 at Iowa. 8th place here tonight, runs 3rd, but he needs some help as we still got plenty more racing left here tonight. Mark Whitley, Cody Reed, Miller, Sipes, Yingling, your top 5. As tonight is your race number 10. 2 more after this evening before the playoffs begin. It's time for us to get back to green flag racing. Huge jump for Mark Whitley on the inside, and he's in his favorite place. Clean air and leading up front as we're down into turn number 1.
Oh, it looks like Yingling was going to make the aggressive move, but it's Cochran going through the middle in the 2 machine, but it's Vincent Sword there farther back on the apron. He gets loose. He's going to get checked up, lose a ton of time. So now everybody's stacking up on those fresher tires.
And for Nick Crawford, he's taking a huge advantage if possible, but not able to do so. Instead, they are still piling in. Sora, big loose. His brother goes to the inside. They're going to still be 3 wide even behind them. So the 15 has to get a good launch off the exit of the corner, and the middle of the pack, once again, just where all the calamity is just billowing up. We're waiting for the big one to strike, yet to happen. But you know it's building to a moment that someone's just going to make a little slip up of a move. Someone's going to get loose and trouble behind for one of the drivers, but up front, they continue to go back and forth. Mark Whitley, though, the most comfortable, and oh no! Cedric Hunter into the outside wall.
Oh, I think he just got punted. I don't know by who he got hit by, but it looks like actually the 74 of Crawford might have been the one that gets into him. So yeah, so 74 Nick Crawford getting into the back of the 13 of Cedric Hunter there. Morales involved in it, and man, oh man, this yellow right here is only going to take a laps away, and I think help the drivers that stayed out there.
And it's going to be a simple just incident of off the exit of the corner. You're going to be seeing the huge run from the 74. Crawford's going to give the bump, expecting Hunter to go a little bit higher, doesn't. Clipped, spun, and there goes the Hello Kitty machine right into Morales, and Morales' unlucky season just continues on. The 8 cannot find a break at any race, but we'll look back on see the bumper cam on the 13. You're going to see the engine of the 74 with this bump. There it is, and then get hooked and sent off of it's going to be Crawford's bumper, and there's a small little incident, and once again, Zach, surprised that drivers aren't moving up on the front stretch or the back stretch when there's space. They're just holding their ground.
That they are, yeah. That was interesting. It was like almost like Cedric Hunter was kind of trying to defend the inside a little bit, so Crawford didn't go up the inside, but then at the same time, it seemed like he was fading out to the right at the last moment, so it kind of just caught him in the off square on the left side of the bumper. So that was definitely an interesting moment. It looks like Jared Talmadge, he's going to get his lap back here and get himself back on the lead lap after his self spin there a few moments ago. So that helps him out. But now we got, looks like the likes of Danny Cochran up to 4th with this this quick yellow like that. So Cochran did a great job of making quick work to get his way through.
A couple of also drivers are up front taking a choice to head into pit road for maybe their final time of tonight. Going to be seeing Michael Miller, Larry Yingling, Joshua Stovall get some service done for themselves. Going to be back in 17th, 18th, and 19th position. Even more drivers further on back. Going to be Cedric Hunter, Jesse Thornock, Simon Garcia getting even more damage repair done, and Mark Morales Jr. as well. Damage repairs for themselves. Tyler Dangler finally back out there on track after getting his repairs done after being sent up and over into the catch fence, and the 19 hoping to just salvage some type of points here this evening as we get ready for these drivers to get stacked up and ready to go. I mean, Zach, this was the worry, and we kind of brought it up during our commercial break of this race. Traditionally, when we see these smaller courses, if we have a long green flag run and then a caution comes out, that's it. We're not expected to see any more long runs after that.
Yeah, I think the long runs have kind of slipped out the window. So I think now the aggression level is about to pick up, folks. I think everybody has been aggressive already, but we could see a few bit of bumpers being used, because there's desperation that's going to be coming out. I mean, you got the likes of Danny Cochran, who needs to go out there and get this win almost to put himself with any shot to have a chance in the chase coming up here in 3 weeks. So we'll see what the 2 is able to do. I mean, it's going to be close here, Sam.
I mean, desperation, retaliation, and who's got some revenge that they've got maybe bubbling up behind them, because we've already seen incidences today. You've got the drivers lined up, going to be 1st and 3rd. Mark Whitley, Justin Sipes, they just had an issue just 15, 20 laps ago. They could be finding themselves in a situation here just on this restart. If Sipes decides, you know what, a bumper might be called to get the 77 moved out of the way for a chance to take up front, because Sipes is in a position where he's fighting to get a lot of points. And if he can find a way to somehow sneak into the top 20 in points, he could find his way making the playoffs. Enter tonight 30th. That's a lot of work, but tonight could change everything for this 80 machine as the field's stacked up, ready to go. The 77 going to be your control vehicle on the inside. He's going to have over a car length or more unless Cody Reed has figured out the timing. But Mark Whitley ready to take off and go into the restart zone, and they take off, and it's going to be Sipes right on the back bumper down into turn number 1 for 2nd place.
Sipes great on the timing there. So he's able to stay right with the 77, clear the 25. Now the 2, he's going to look to the inside of Cody Reed here, but I think it's going to take a little time for those tires to fire up, but he's got a great run now, actually. He's going to be looking to the inside of Sipes, I believe.
Danny Cochran, great run for the 2, just slightly fresher tires. Also, Trenton Jump going to have slightly fresher tires. They're going to be fighting for these top positions. One that lingers in 6th, and also for 7th, Thomas Green, Christopher Norris. They might be the next 2 drivers really of note to watch out for if this run decides to stay clean and green. As Mark Whitley, loving the fresh air, he's able to just hit his marks and pull away everyone else. Side by side is Jump. Big wiggle for the 46.
Big wiggle, but he clears the 25 crucially to get himself up to 4th. Now he's got a decision to make. Does he follow the 80? Does he follow the 2? Looks like the 2 will try to clear the 80 of Sipes, but just can't get it done. Those newer tires not fired up yet. They need a longer run here to hope those tires can start to fade in front of them.
Massive side drafting as Mark Whitley puts down the fastest lap of the race. But do you want to be doing that as this race has a potential to continue to race, go green, burning up your tires? Who knows if that's really the right call that you want to go for, but I know for Mark Whitley, he wants to get as far away from the rest of the field as possible.
That he does. He's trying to run away, so to say, Sam, as he sees now new tires have gotten past Justin Sipes. Danny Cochran on the hunt, on the prowl. Trenton Jump will be next to try to go past Sipes, but you also got the likes of John Forbes.
Jump, watch out. He gets squirrely there with a little bit of contact to Sipes. There'll be 3 wide battling for 4th place. John Forbes, and Jump goes around fully off the exit of turn 2.
Oh no, Trenton Jump, such an excellent start to the race for him tonight, and that is not what he's liking to see. Is his night has come to an abrupt halt here.
Luckily didn't hit the wall. It's grazing off of, I believe, those John Forbes off the exit. Well, this is going to be a great view seen from the blimp cam. And this is the initial start that got the 46 out of sorts. Just taps the 80 machine, gets him squirrely, trying to get all this positioning back that he just lost. Comes up into the 11, contact, and away he goes into the grass. And luckily, like I said, keeps it off the wall. He's able to move on forward, but going to be losing all of that track time. Luckily for Jump, he's got 2 extra sets of tires in pit road, so take 4 now. Just see what you can recover from here.
And that's the tough thing here on iRacing is Jump was the truck to the inside of Sipes there, and it just spins the truck to the inside when the contact is made. And you know, Sipes in the 80, that was a close call for him. You know, he's lucky that doesn't send him around. It's actually pit road's super busy. Everybody coming down. I'm super surprised to see this.
Thomas Green stays out, Christopher Norris stays out, Nick Crawford stays out. A mass surge of everyone out front following the leader. And that was not an expected move. Dakota Moniz is going to be up in 4th. Presley Sora stays out. Everyone making the hard-charging move to pit road. Top 10 drivers do not. And for you Joshua Stovall fans, he stays out as well. 9th place for the 42.
I am so mind blown by some of these pit stops. I mean, we literally just ran the fastest lap of the race, 3 to 4 laps before that yellow flag. I don't see especially the second group that pitted twice now, you know, like Cochran. I mean, you're gonna put yourself back there, Danny Cochran in 14th, and you're gonna not even have that big of a tire advantage from the drivers up ahead. I mean, this is a 14 lap advantage. This is about what you had from before.
It's 14 lap advantage, but it might be even less because it's been a caution after just 1 lap to 2 laps ran. It's maybe 3 to 4 laps of green flag racing difference on tires, even though on our numbers from the last time they went into pit road, he was 15 laps ago for our leader of Thomas Green compared to those that just came out. John Forbes, Vincent Sora, Zach, they took the gamble. 2 tires for Forbes and Vincent Sora.
Ooh, that is, I mean, if you're going to come down this late, I think that's the gamble you go with. I mean, the other tires are definitely not that worn. So this has been an interesting situation, but 10 drivers to go through. If I'm Thomas Green, I'm Christopher Norris. You know, if we get a few quick yellows here and there, this could be very tough for these drivers to get past them.
I mean, I'm looking at some of the drivers missing their box and having to back up. Justin Sipes went from 3rd place up front, entering pit road, exits 18th position. Justin Sipes, your biggest loser after that pit stop.
Such a tough situation there. I mean, you know, a lot of these drivers like the likes of Sipes. I mean, you're in 3rd position at that time before you come to pit road. You're just following the leader. You're like, oh, well, the leaders are coming down. Mostly everybody's going to do it. Then that split decision of the half to field behind says, no, I'm reconsidering this. This is not the right call. I want to stay out. Then you have these split strategies like this. This is definitely shook things up, and even have a few that are on, you know, the likes of Larry England, Joshua Stovall, Michael Miller. They're 10 laps on their tires where they only had a few green flag laps.
Yeah, they maybe have 1 or 2 of full green flag laps put on these tires. They probably are in the best situation for Miller. He was caught up in an earlier incident. Joshua Stovall has been recovering ever since those first handful of cautions that he had to get damage repair all throughout this race, and now he'll be inside of the top 10. This is completely shooken up some drivers' nights and hopes for a good finish. But it's the 2 drivers that have looked like some of the fastest all throughout this evening. Thomas Green, Christopher Norris, they'll be your lead drivers. Pace car into pit road. The GOAT, 135 in New Hampshire, is back underway, and it's Thomas Green pulling away from the rest of the field. As further on back, they're already trying to go 3 wide, and it's John Forbes, Mark Whitley that are making the inside groove work. They're willing to pinch. They're almost 4 wide off the exit 2.
Oh man, it was close to being 4 wide there, but that group is stacked up. I think a lot of them are getting stuck back here as the moves are being made. Whitley dropping back as he's stuck on that bottom side.
And the one driver that's really trying to make some big moves, that's going to be Michael Miller, who is trying to make his surge forward. Also Vincent Sora trying to make the inside to middle groove work, but it's going to be Stovall in the 42 Brown machine. He is just swarmed, stuck. The damage is too rough for him to keep up with the pace of those that just got the freshest of tires. He'll back out, and I think that's the smartest move. Try to get in a position that you can survive the chaos that's rumbling to be created here.
Wow, this is crazy to see. Look at John Forbes. He's going to go all the way to the bottom. He's dropping it nice and low here, and it's going to be Vincent Sawyer who's going to get stacked up here behind the 00 Ethan Smith. This is John Forbes' chance here, as he's going to have a great exit actually on the bottom. He's going to go down to 1 now, and he's going to look to go through here.
Thomas Green, your leader, puts down the fastest lap of the race, but it's going to be seeing John Forbes, also going to be Vincent Sora, putting Miller in the pinch. The 11 coming off the exit of the corner. It's been the inside driver is Sora, a little bit of a tail slapper to the 99, and Miller holds on. Now Cody Reed will take an attempt to down to the apron, as again, they're almost a stacked 4 wide. They are a stacked 4 wide. Coming out of turn number 4, Cody Reed on the apron, but somehow they get in line, looking like a Christmas tree. 1, 2, 3 wide of it. This thing head into 1.
Oh, that was close there. Cochran dives in behind the 15 of Vincent Sora. He almost gets in the back of him as they're trying to follow John Forbes through. The crazy thing to say is they're only up to 6th here, and they're already 2 seconds behind the leader, Thomas Green, who is shot out of a cannon.
And Mark Whitley continues to flounder back in 18th position as he has a big slide, and he just sees all this chaos in front of him, just nowhere to go. Same for Trent Jump, for Sipes, all drivers that when they came into pit road, they thought they were going to have the advantage. Instead, they're watching everyone that took 2 tires just succeeding up front, powering their way forward, and about to be making his way up to 3rd place is Nick Crawford making his charge, but it's his teammate of John Forbes. It's leading those like a fresh rubber on the last caution.
Forbes is trying everything, Sam. He is going for it. He's gotten to the
Miller.
outside.
Big slide for the 5th or the 99. He stacks up everyone. It's Larry Yingling being shoved by Ollie Fonseca as they go through, as they all got clobbered for a quick moment.
Ooh, they somehow kept that together. I think Miller there had some contact with him and Mark Whitley, or sorry, actually 25 Cody Reed up ahead of this group, and that's what got him around.
As seen side by side, Mark Whitley jump as well as Stovall. They're trying to have the best run they can. Speaking of the best run that they can, that's not your eyes deceiving you. It's the 5, Dakota Moniz, trying to hold steady for 3rd place currently. Dakota, all the bad luck, all the trouble. Well, he's got to test fate, and he gets contact with Nick. Nick sliding in front of him. They all try to slow down. We stay green. Oh no, the commentator's cards. Oh no! Cody, Nick Crawford, teammate on teammate action. Yellow flag is out.
Oh no, that was terrible to see there, and that is an awkward moment. I'm almost wondering, you know, did it break the steering of Nick Crawford, because it just seemed like he had cranked that wheel all the way to the right, but it just wasn't going there.
We're right on board. Here's what Dakota Moniz's point of view was like. Outside 3 wide, Crawford trying to give space to the inside driver, but just gets into the 5. And there goes the 74, just careening down into his teammate Cody Reed, gets spun around. And I think he might be right. We'll have to go back and take a ride along with the 74, but he just had no way of stopping where that vehicle was going. The only decision he could have had was slam on the brakes. But he cranks the wheel, trying to keep it off, and trying to counter steer. Maybe he forgot which way he was pointing, but it was still turning to the left.
He definitely was still turning to the left. Like, it almost looks like it almost like you were saying, Sam, he kind of judged which side of the wheel's on, because, you know, he flipped the wheel 360 degrees when he hit that wall there to get out of the wall after it went to the right. And you can see, look at the wheel, still just pointing dead left. I don't know if he just didn't think that it was flipped over that, you know, that 1 full degree of rotation or not, but yeah, that was a awkward and clumsy moment there, and one you don't normally see from Nick Crawford.
No, but what it's been like this season, if one driver spins out, at some point they're going to take a teammate with them. And sadly, it was Nick Crawford and Cody Reed getting into one another. Cody Reed will be able to stay out. He'll be in 10th place, but this now gives another chance for more drivers to come into pit road. And the one that stays out with the oldest of tires, it's Christopher Norris. But Norris, I was looking at that run, he was being patient like we've seen so many times, especially on that long run where he was the fastest driver late. He's just protecting his tires, and I think that this 38 is in a prime position up front, as we're going to be with 20 laps to go. It's going to be less than 20 when we go green.
I like the call from Christopher Norris there to stay out. You know, the decision of Thomas Green there to pit from the lead, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. The one thing I will say for him, he's going to have an 11 lap difference on tires here compared to the drivers ahead, and it's going to be actually about the an 8 to 9 lap green flag lap difference, because we actually had a decent little run right there. So this could very well make things a little bit more interesting for Thomas Green to see if he's going to have a little bit of a, fire underneath those tires there to get himself up there. But if you're Christopher Norris, I think if you're just solid enough from here, especially with the cool down phase of these tires, he should be able to have a good enough launch here to be able to have something at least to fight with here.
As we are getting prepared for this restart, it's going to be the teammates Christopher Norris, John Forbes. Then it's going to be another pair of teammates. It's going to be Vincent Sora, Danny Cochran, Ollie Fonseca. First time he's been up front. Both Danny Cochran, Ollie, sponsored by our title sponsor for the ISRC, Larry R Productions. If you're looking for a way to enjoy your day and you're looking for just an enjoyable time, watch Larry Art Productions on YouTube and Instagram. Wendy's partnered up with SpongeBob, and the most recent video from Larry Art Productions is he reviewed having himself a Krabby Patty sandwich from Wendy's, and an enjoyable video that you do not want to miss. Always love Larry's food reviews as he gives his honest opinions, and he's always trying to make a good laugh. As these drivers get ready, Zach, up front, we know Norris, he's trying to prepare for a win this season. He would love to get one, but there's also still a lot of other hungry wolves directly behind him.
Oh, that's for sure, Sam. I think around him, we know how competitive they are. John Forbes, one of the most competitive drivers out there. Vincent Sora in fourth, probably the most competitive driver out there. And you got the two-a-day Cochran who wants to win this thing. So to get himself into the chase, it's going to be no holds bar right here.
Danny Cochran, driver who is still searching for a win this season. He would love if it was this time that he could get back into victory lane. Green flag is back in the air for the go 135, and Ollie Fonseca shipping it down into the inside row, almost trying to go 3 wide for that second row. Instead, he'll slot back into his groove, but it's the teammates side by side off the exit turn 2. Norris, John Forbes looking good behind them. They're still trying to sort things out.
Here we go. John Forbes, fresher tires. He wants 2 wins in a row. He would love to take that into his back pocket here heading into the final 2 regular season races. But Christopher Norris, he's going to fight for everything. He wants this win, but it's the 2 of Danny Cochran, the one that's in third right now, that has the most to lose. He's going to be out there trying everything. And you could also say the same for Norris, where he's at points-wise.
Christopher Norris just wants a little bit of a buffer zone. Danny Cochran wants a berth to the playoffs. The two, much different solidifying position that he's in. And looking at these drivers, 17 laps to go. John Forbes obviously looks like the stronger competitor up front. He's going to be the biggest threat to try to beat. But if you're Danny Cochran, Christopher Norris, the last time Danny won a race was last season at Bristol. It was Danny Cochran stealing a last lap pass over Christopher Norris. Right now, Norris trying to defend over Danny Cochran. The pension even down in the apron, and it's John Forbes pulling away. Norris holds steady, trouble behind. Ollie Fonseca down into the inside wall. He hits the tire barriers, but we stay green.
Fonseca is destroyed.
Oh, Sipes, watch out for the 80. What a drift and a save right in front of the field. We stay green once again. They're 3 wide, 4 wide, and Thomas Green with a big wiggle, but they keep it together.
Thomas Green on those fresh tires trying to make his way up to the front, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time. He's going to need some type of yellow probably for help.
Danny Cochran, a big dive bomb move on Christopher Norris. And now the 2 is going to be trying his best attempt to pull away. But here's going to be the racing action of watch out. Can they survive? You got Joshua Stovall in the thick of it for that 42 machine as he's trying to go and drive for a top 10 finish after his rough day. Also, you got Shelley Sipes trying to recover as well. It's Dakota Moniz, fresh rubber, but there's the big bump. Ethan Smith to the 25, and Cody Reed. Reed's trying to recover his night. That's been kind of a rough one over the first couple of laps, but it has been tough for a lot of these drivers, but pulling away up front. It's John Forbes, comfortable, but for how long? As another big slide for the 80 machine of Sipes.
Another big slide for Sipes, but it's the 38 of Christopher Norris here, putting it on the door of the 15. The 15 is going to run the apron. The 38 is going to run the yellow line, but I think the 15 is going to have to drive off. He makes the pass up to third for Vincent Sora. Can Cochran run down Forbes, though?
It's trouble for further on back for Michael Miller. We continue to stay green. I've got a feeling if we're going to see a wreck, it might be around the 80 machine of Sipes. Every corner he has been snapping loose with drivers around him. Luckily, no one else has been caught up in the slipping and sliding. But he's finally getting some fresh air, but now here's the dive bomb onto the inside of the 50 of Samuel Garcia, who's been having his own recovery run after early troubles and early wrecks. as the 80 tries to stay low on the apron, exits out. That's the cleanest run he's had so far, but we'll put our sights back up front because John Forbes looks comfortable, but second place, it's the teammates from Cochran Sora Racing. Danny Cochran, Vincent Sora, can they run down this 11 machine, or is Forbes too fast to catch up with 12, soon to be 11 laps to go?
The guy on the freshest set of tires right now, the farthest up, Presley Sora up to 5th. That time by was about a 10th faster than all the drivers ahead. That's not enough though. He's going to need more than that. He's probably going to need to get a few spots and get himself a yellow flag, but watch out for the likes of the 12. He's got a little bit in his back pocket, but Vincent Sora battling with his teammate here. He wants to go fight for a win.
They're trying to catch up to John Forbes. Other clusters of drivers around one another. It's going to be around 9th, 10th position as Joshua Stovall as well as Trenton Jump and Shelley are around one another. They've got Mark Whitley, excuse me, and also going to be Thomas Green right ahead of them as they're battling side by side for this 9th place position. What a recovery drive from the Brown crew. Try to have one of his better finishes of the season. He already had a top 10 finish earlier in the season for himself. That was 8th place at Michigan. Here tonight, runs 9th. He could get that season best finish if he can somehow scoot ahead of Isaac Shelley, our pole sitter of tonight's race.
It's going to be tough to do. Shelley's had a lot of speed, but Stovall has been finding it here late in the going, and it's going to be any man's game. But it was Vincent Sora who got around Danny Cochran, actually, up to 2nd for the 15. Can he run down now the likes of John Forbes, who's opened up about a 0.6 of a second gap?
Attack and go. Update for the ADA machine of Justin Sipes. Forced to pit road. The tires just fell away. Was not comfortable. Was losing too much ground, and he'll send himself into pit road. We'll see if he gets back out on track as the battle for that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place position starting to ramp up. Presley Sora is catching the 2 and the 15.
He is. Sora is closing the gap down. Thomas Green also in 5th, closing the gap down. So right now, those two who took those tires looking much better than they were before. Now trying to close their way down. They're going to need, I think, the help of a caution here. There's no way they're going to catch John Forbes unless we get this bag brought together, but at the same time they want to find a few spots before that.
Well, some drivers further on back, you see those hands really working for Vincent Sora. But watching Mark Whitley, he's starting to fall back into the clutches of Joshua Stovall. They actually made contact through 3 and 4, so I think some drivers, they're not over just yet. They're seeing opportunities to pounce and take off and go. One driver, though, that's fading quickly, Christopher Norris, on some of the oldest tires of anyone out on track. He took the gamble. He took the risk of taking track position. It just has not worked out for the 38. A top 10 finish is what he's hoping for with 7 laps to go. About to be 6 as John Forbes crosses the line. The 11, confident, comfortable, and continues to try to pull away from the rest of the field. But it's 1/10 every lap that ticks away, and if it continues at that rate, Vincent Sora would be close enough for one last chance for a dive bomb move.
We'll see if he can continue to click away those laps. It's just going to be tough here. Forbes has been so spectacular so far once he's got out to this lead here. But we'll just see here off the exit, Sora closing the gap down, running a little bit of a different line there. And again, that time by a little bit quicker. So he's got to continue that march, but he's going to need a little bit more.
He does need a little bit more, and that just wasn't enough. He's just not fast enough to get close. And right now, Presley Sora put pressure on Danny Cochran, who's going to be losing another spot for himself to fall to 4th place as the 12. Making the charge on the outside, a very different lane. We're seeing John Forbes basically just sticking to the apron. Presley Sora, on the other hand, running about 2 grooves higher through both 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We're seeing a very different run, and it's working out for the 12 to catch up to the 15 and the 2, but I'm looking at the overall pace. It's not fast enough to catch up to John Forbes, though, with 4 laps to go.
Not enough, but if he gets a yellow, that will be where his opportunities will come. He wants to get by his younger brother, Vincent Sora, if you're Presley Sora, but you know that's going to be tough. Vincent's going to fight for every little thing here to hold back his older brother, but even his older brother there, a little bit loose off the exit of the corner, losing a little bit of time as even that time by, Vincent Sora the fastest of that group.
3 laps to go. And for John Forbes, he continues to look up to that flag stand and just cross your fingers, hope that a caution doesn't come out. There's a couple of battles that are happening throughout the field, but for the 11, it's clean sailing at this moment as he continues to stay about 6/10 ahead of Vincent Sora and over a second ahead over Presley Sora. The Sora brothers, they would have wished for more, but now it's 2 laps to go here for the GOAT 135. And John Forbes, Zach, he's been picture perfect when he gets up front.
That he has, and he wants to be the first driver to get 3 wins this season. He has been so good up to this point. Him and his teammate Nick Crawford, both 2 victories up to now. Last week he got that second victory at Auto Club. He's going to look to add another to the tally this week.
Continues to just drive on and prove as each lap looks secure. Up to the flag stand, you see the white flag. This race is official for John Forbes, as now it is all about making it to the line for the 11.
John Forbes made the call to come down to pit road. He diced his way through the traffic, and that's what's going to end up putting him in the position to win tonight's race.
You look at the most wins column, and it's still Mark Whitley, but that marker of the most wins grows ever so smaller. John Forbes, he's the GOAT when you look at championships, and he'll be 1 win behind Mark Whitley. Your winner for the GOAT 135 goes to John Forbes for his 3rd win of the season.
What a job by Forbes. Another victory, 2 in a row, and 3rd of the season, like you said, Sam. He's building big momentum and looking to be a 3-time in a row champion also when we get to that chase. This guy, unbelievable.
He just continues to impress each and every season. You saw the potential back in season 2 for John Forbes when he got over 6 wins, and just every season you saw the consistency grow and more and more. In the last few seasons, especially the championships, these last 2, John Forbes has looked untouchable at times, and here tonight, once he got that clean air, no one was catching him. At moments looked like there was a maybe, but it just was not enough. Congratulations to John Forbes in the 11 machine as he gets to burn it down here at New Hampshire. We will be back right after this. We get to talk to John Forbes and the Sora brothers of Vincent Sora and Presley Sora, as well as Spotlight Driver, right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show of the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series. Race number 10 is in the books, and tonight's winner of the GOAT 135 at New Hampshire goes to the 11 machine, which you talk about the GOAT of the ISRC Truck Series. He's inching closer and closer to that mark. John, your third win of the season. You're now just one win behind Mark in the all-times wins list. I mean, how are you feeling after this performance tonight?
And that was just a fun race overall. I mean, I had a EOL, I had to start from the back at the beginning. So just if you look at my chart, it's just a little climb throughout the entire race, and then we got to where we need to be at the top, at the end of the race. I mean, that last run was the first time I've been really top three all night, and we got there and held on to it. And it was a little less stressful than last week. I think the clean air was definitely more important. I mean, there's not as much draft as like there was at Auto Club, obviously. So I was keeping that gap of Vincent. He wasn't getting that much closer, and as long as I hit my marks, I knew I was gonna be able to hold on to it. But yeah, all night. I mean, it was. I was watching back at the old broadcast from last year, and there was a lot of things I could have improved on that I didn't capitalize last season. So just going into this race, I felt like I did my homework and I knew what I needed to do coming in.
It definitely seemed to be that way, John. Man, congrats on the third victory of the season. Really starting to put yourself in the right position before we head to those chase playoffs. And tonight it really seemed very hard to keep up with the strategy there at the very end with all those yellows. Guys were coming in every so often. How did you keep on top of that and actually end up being the best strategy of all?
Yeah, it just kept flip flopping, and I knew I think Nick and a couple other guys they pit like on that first kind of stint towards the end where we got a bunch of cautions, and they made some good momentum. Got past, I think Nick passed me, and then another caution came out, and that was after like 10 laps. So I was like, okay, I guess it's my turn to come in. So I took four there, then drove back through everybody else and got to like top five, and then we all came down again, and I was like, okay, I'm sitting like I'm the third car coming down pit road. I might have even been the fourth car. And I was like, I need to do something that's gonna just like change this up. And I saw Ollie took the two tires in the last race we did here, so and it worked out pretty well for him for a while. So now with the something changed with the new model with the trucks and stuff, and it was just really quick along with like the clean air and stuff. So once I got to the front with those two tires, we're just sailing from there. But getting to that point to get to, in a position to get to the lead was like the hardest part. There was a time when I was running the bottom, and I think Danny and Vinny were in front of me. I was like, oh man, I might have messed myself up here coming on the bottom. But then all of a sudden they got held up or something on the outside, and next thing I know, I'm in front of all of them. And then a caution comes out, and I'm sitting like I think it was second or third, and I was like, all right, I mean, we got a shot now. I'm the highest guy up with the fresher tires, so got by Norris and just clean sailing from there.
Certainly was clean sailing for yourself, John. It was an impressive run there late once you got the lead. But I'm curious on your thoughts on the points. I know you're feeling secure on making it to the playoffs with your 3 wins. You're currently in a heated battle between yourself and Vincent Sora for the regular season championship. Has that crossed your mind at all for these last couple of races, or is it something that you're just taking race by race and just think about those bonus points for the chase later on?
Yeah, obviously it's the bonus points, but I mean, last season I think I lost it in a tiebreaker to Vinny by literally 0 points, and he got it like by having the most wins, I think. So I'm always on the wrong side of those ends of the strategy when it comes to the tiebreaker being within a few points. So this would be nice to get this win. Obviously, it doesn't count for much besides some nice bonus points, which I mean, obviously it's nice to help get through the rounds. Um, but yeah, we're gonna just keep the momentum going. It's a nice little motivator to have to keep these runs going, and it keeps Vinny and ourselves on our toes to beat each other. I mean, you look at the last 2 weeks, we've been 1-2, so we're just gonna try and keep that up the rest of the season. I'm sure it's gonna be a fun battle for everybody to watch.
Well, it has been a joy these last couple of weeks. Well, John, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, and you thank the people on board, JD Performance and eFlex Fuel and Justin for the awesome schemes every week. Gotta thank SDR. Had some. I mean, we were all fast all night. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for Cody or Nick, but Christopher had a pretty good run. Nice momentum for him for his playoff run here. So yeah, that's the goal. Just need to get everybody locked in here and just as a team, just keep progressing into the playoffs. And I need to thank you guys for the awesome broadcast.
Well, thank you again for giving us such a great show. That will be your winner here tonight for the GOAT 135 at New Hampshire. John Forbes in the 11 machine takes his third win of the season. Enjoy this one, John, and good luck next week at Charlotte.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
You too. As we move from victory lane, we go down to second place to talk to the 15 machine of Vincent Sora. Vincent, I mean, a strong performance on your part. Had a couple of moments of being around trouble, surviving it, but overall come away second. How are you feeling after your performance here at New Hampshire?
I feel really, really good because this was like probably the only track on the schedule that I had circled where I was worried that I just wasn't even going to be a factor at all. But then coming into the race at the beginning, I didn't qualify where I wanted to, but I slowly started picking guys off, and then I realized that I had really, really good pace, and I got out to the lead. And if it would have went green, I think I would have been in a really good spot. Probably would have ended up with maybe Danny, Norris, and I battling for the win, but I can't complain. I think a top two was it was the speed I had in my truck tonight. So I'm happy to get second, but I'm not happy to get second 2 weeks in a row, especially to John, man, when we're in this tight points battle. But I think it's heating up. I said last week that everybody needs to keep watching, and I think we're proving that because we just keep on finishing 1-2, and I think we're gonna do it for the rest of the season.
Definitely has been quite the battle, Vincent. Congrats again on second, man. Another great, excellent run for yourself this season here at ISRC. I mean, take us through the mindset shift that you had to have, because we saw how great you were on the long run there on that first run, first real long run we got all night. And then it kind of, involves into, a bunch of yellow flags. How do you flip that switch as a driver to, change the mentality from, all right, no longer really got to manage things. I just kind of got to go.
Yeah, it sucks. I've always been a long run guy in any car, any track. Short runs are always my weakness, and that's a lot of what we get. So it's something I just need to get better on. I need to improve my short run pace without giving up the long run speed whenever we have the long runs. But yeah, I kind of knew, and I said after we got those first like 2 yellows that I didn't really think, even with whatever tire strategies were played, whatever, I didn't think it was going to matter because I didn't think we were going to have a very long run. Unfortunately, the longest run we had in the last 60 laps was the last run when I needed a yellow, but I don't know. That's just kind of how it goes. I hate not having the long run for the second half of the race, but it's just the game, and I played a good strategy to get myself back up front after I made a mistake with the 2 tire call. That's what John did as well, and he was just able to get through traffic a little bit better than me. So shout out to him, and I'll regroup and hopefully go win again in Charlotte.
I mean, that's where we're heading to, mile and a half. Vinny, we've seen you be so great at the mile and a half races in the past. What is that confidence level heading into knowing that the last 2 races of the regular season, is that going to be at Charlotte and then the 08 Atlanta?
My confidence is really high. The last 2 races I did at both those tracks, I won in this league. Last season, John and I, go figure, we had that great battle the last 15 laps at Charlotte, and I came out the victor. And then going all the way back to, I think, like January 24th of 2021 or 2022, the last time I ran Legacy Atlanta here, when I won the title, I won. So I have a lot of confidence. I think, like you noted on, I have good speed on the mile and a halves, and hopefully a couple more wins to come.
We're excited to see how you're going to perform. Vinny, congratulations on second. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, everybody in the league, it was a fun race tonight. I somehow managed to have fun at one of my least favorite tracks. Shout out to all my teammates, especially Danny tonight. He's the guy who helped me out a bunch at this racetrack, and he had a great run. He had a great rebound, so super happy for him, and hopefully he can squeak his way into the playoffs. Shout out to all the admins and you guys for broadcasting.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show, Vinny. Congratulations on second. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Charlotte.
Thank you, boys. Have a good one.
As we move from second place, we go down to talk to Vinny's brother at Presley Sora. As we got the 12 machine with us. Presley, you had a fantastic run climbing through the field there late. Looked like you need a little bit more time to catch up to the final 2. But man, how are you feeling after your performance here tonight?
Yeah, I'm a little mixed on it. I qualified better than I expected, just based off the practice times, and then at the beginning I was just horrible on short run speed, which I have no idea why. But after we got 30, 35 laps into it, then I ended up being one of the fastest trucks on the lap or on the track every single lap, and I was just picking them away. And then we had the couple cautions, and it kind of mixed things up, and I got up towards the front, and then I tell you what, we're turning a new leaf over here at Presley Sora Racing because I ran everybody very, very clean for the first 60, 70 laps, and for the next 30 or 40 after that, I got doored, just I just got picked on. It was insane. I mean, I was getting thrown in the wall, chopped, everything under the sun. So for the last 15 or 20 after I put on the fresh tires, I decided I'd race everybody like they raced me, and I drove up to the front. So that's how we're going to do it from now on. I'm not taking any more of that, and I try to race as respectfully as possible, and if I can't get the same in return, then they're not going to get it in the first place. So I hate to do it that way, but I'm going to race how I'm raced. So should be a fun start to the playoffs coming up here soon, and I think I'll have a pretty good shot at the title here in a few weeks.
I definitely agree with you there, Presley, man. First off, congrats on the excellent strategy call and great run there at the end to get yourself back up into the top three here. But talking about that strategy, how hard was it to kind of time that right? Because it seemed like it was flip-flopping between, guys were in 10, 15 laps ago, they were coming in while others were staying out. It just really seemed a mixed bag there. How was your decision making on that? Because you definitely made the right one.
Yeah, the cautions were all over the place, and it fell at really awkward times to where you'd run, 10 or 12 laps, and you'd wear down the tires a little bit, and it would be like a 50-50 call on if you pit or not. So that's where you saw a lot of the split field decisions. And once the majority of those leaders pit and then drove right back up to me and around me, I was like, oh no, that's not good. And then we got another caution, and it worked out, and I came down and put some tires on with around 20 or so to go, and it worked out. I just burnt my stuff up a little bit too much in the first 5 or 6 laps trying to get up to him, and I picked them off, and then I was still running quicker and quicker and quicker, and then we got to like 5 laps to go, and then lap times evened out, and I was just kind of stuck there in that hole. So P3, all things considered, is not bad. It's better than the last few weeks I've had where I've been upside down and in the grass and all kinds of other stuff, but we'll take a P3 and move on to the next week.
But speaking of next week, we're headed to Charlotte, the 08 configuration of Atlanta, the next 2 races before we start the playoffs. What's your confidence level knowing that we're heading back to mile and a half racing that we've only seen once so far this season?
Mile and a half's right up my alley, so put me on Charlotte or old Atlanta any day, and I should be pretty quick. So my confidence is through the roof on those, and I would expect to see the 12 machine up towards the front.
And we're excited to hear that. Well, Presley, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to all of you guys for broadcasting and everyone who helps put the league on every Monday. It's fun to race, and especially tonight we did have some green flag runs, so that was really nice to see. So shout out to all the drivers, everyone involved with the league, and obviously my spotter John Shulcheski with Fast Track Racing. He was spotting for me tonight and calling strategy, so he played a big role in getting me up there as well and keeping me out of trouble. So thanks to all those people, and we will see you next week.
Well, we cannot wait for it. That is going to be your 3rd place finisher here tonight in the 12 machine of Presley Sora. Enjoy this one, Presley, and good luck next week at Charlotte.
Alrighty, thank you.
As we move from 3rd place, we go to our spotlight driver. Going to be his first top 10 of the season. Crazy to say that statement, but we've got Ethan Smith with us. Ethan, you come away with a top 10 finish. It's your best one of the season so far. How are you feeling after your performance tonight that looked like it was an up and down brawl out just to come away with 10th place?
Considering this race is my first race here, I'll take a 10th. I did not expect to be in the top 20, let alone in the top 10. I was just trying to keep it alive, not ruin anyone's day. I only got involved in one incident that I just happened to get caught up in. But getting fresh tires at that moment actually helped me gain a few spots, and was battling with Stovall towards the end. And that was pretty good at the end. I couldn't secure 9th or 8th, but I did better than I thought I would.
Definitely a great race here, Ethan. And I think the season's been a lot of up and down for you, man. And you sat on the pole last week at Auto Club. So how's it feel to get, after a great qualifying last week, you had a great qualifying at Michigan, not too long ago. How's it feel to get a good finish to go along with that? Because I know you would like those finishes to go with those.
It's a nice feeling. Unfortunately, I had life hit me a little bit. Got a new job. Got some other things going on that made me miss some of the races this season. So the comeback season's put on hold till next season. I'm just trying to compete a little bit, but not be too aggressive where I'm ruining anyone's day with people that actually have a shot at a championship. So I'm happy with the tracks coming up. I'm glad I finally got to finish on tracks that I have been here for. It's been 50-50 whether I wreck out or not. So I'm just trying to stay alive right now.
Well, talking about Ethan, tracks that are coming up, Charlotte, the next one on the schedule. We've seen you have great success there in the past. What is it like knowing that we're going back to 1.5 mile races where you have had success in the past before?
One thing with 1.5 mile tracks that I can't do is I just never seem to qualify well. It's very seldom do I get in a top 5 situation when I qualify, and that's probably one of my weakest points that I'm really going to try to work on coming into Charlotte. I'm always confident in almost any track other than a road course that I have an opportunity to win. So I'm going to go in with the same mentality and just give it my all like I do every time.
Well, we hope that this continues on with your momentum, Ethan. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
You guys for putting the broadcast on, any friends and family watching. Danny for the scheme. Yeah, that's it.
Well, that will be the 00 machine of Ethan Smith coming away with his first top 10 of the season. Congratulations with that, Ethan, and good luck next week at Charlotte.
Thank you.
As we move along from our interviews, we get to take a look at our unofficial results here tonight, which hearing the fact that, Ethan getting to have his first time riding on this racetrack, he just purchased it over the weekend to get prepared for this race. So he didn't have a lot of time to practice, but a great job finishing in 10th place. But here's how the rest of the field came away with their finish. Your winner, third time this season, his 17th career win. He's just one behind Mark Whitley on the all-times wins list. He'll come away with the win this evening for the 11 of John Forbes. Vincent Sora comes away second. Presley Sora comes away third. Thomas Green, great recovery run for himself. He got shuffled further on back, but was able to come away with fourth. Danny Cochran almost had a chance to fight for that win. He'll fall back to fifth position. Shelley as well, one of those drivers that had to fight forward. Oldest tires on track comes away in seventh is Christopher Norris. But the biggest, how did he finish their moment? Joshua Stobel read in the chat, his steering wheel, when he's going straight, he had to turn it at 2 o'clock, wasn't at 12, and somehow comes away with 8th, which ties his best career finish so far in the ISRC. Mark Whitley, shocker, comes away 9th here tonight, and then our last driver in our top 10 is the 00 of Ethan Smith.
Wild finishes there for a few, definitely, but as we look to the rest of the order, gotta look at that 11th place position of Trent Jump for sure. I mean, tough break for the 4016. Led a lot of laps early in that race. But I come home 11th. You also got the likes of Cody Reed back there. He had showed some very strong signs here tonight of speed. Back there, going to finish in the 18th position. Same for Nick Crawford back to 20th. Showed a lot of speed early in this event. Then Fonseca falling back to 23rd after some incidents for himself. And then back in 27th, a huge moment for Joshua Kanata because points are going to be on the line for these next 3.
It is massive on the changeup that really Joshua Kanata having his fault early on and being taken out of this race really did put a damper on a night that he was expecting some big points. Not going to be the case, but a lot of other drivers coming away with a lot of joy for themselves. Looking at that list of drivers and where they finished, I think there were about 6 drivers that their best finish of the season. Most shocking, Danny Cochran, 5th place, Zach. His first top 5 of the season. That is wild to say for a season 3 champ.
Yeah, wild to say for a past champion, multi-time winner. I mean, it's been a tough time for Danny. I've talked to him personally, and it's just things have not went his way. So get a top 5, I'm sure it feels good, but I think he wanted some more tonight with how New Hampshire was looking for him. But at the end of the day, you got to take your good finishes when you can, so you can just keep building them up.
Well, taking a look at what our future schedule is going to be looking like, as we have Charlotte, the Oval, coming up next week for the ISRC Truck Series. Well, if you want a small preview of what the track's like in a road course configuration, don't want to miss it. Tomorrow night, cutoff race in the playoffs for the Challenger Racing League as they head to the Roval as they follow the real-life NASCAR schedule. Whatever NASCAR ran the past Sunday, they run on Tuesday, and they are going to be giving us a great show. It's been a lot of back and forth strategy calls. It came down to fuel mileage on who was going to win at Talladega. What will the Roval bring? You'll have to find out tomorrow night. Wednesday night, we are off as the WSSR Season 9 concluded. Zach Hull taking the championship, but Season 10 just a few weeks away. November 6th is going to be our time that we come back for the WSSR. Then on Thursday, after all the hurricanes that have struck Florida, I believe everyone should be back, and it's time for the Doghouse Cup Series. After a 3-week break, it's time for their chance to try this track. New Hampshire, open setup with the next gens. That's a combination you do not want to miss out. And like we said, next week we're right back here at Charlotte for the trucks. But Zach, I think Thursday is going to be a fun one to watch, and Tuesday it's a cutoff race for a playoff.
Oh, it's gonna be fun to watch those races, man. I tell you, good to be back at Doghouse, of course, but definitely cutoff race tomorrow night. I'm gonna have to be tuning in and watching you and Trevor up in the booth calling that action from the Charlotte Roval.
Going to be fun racing action you do not want to miss all around. But for tonight, it was John Forbes. There were probably about 6 different drivers that at one moment felt like this was their race to take away and win. But ultimately, it went to the one that now has the most wins so far this season at 3. Congratulations to that 11 machine of John Forbes. But for us up at the booth, we want to say thank you to everyone that watched here tonight. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for joining with us on your Monday night. Great racing action for the ISRC Truck Series. Again, I know we didn't get to show off the vehicle very often, but if you are wanting to help with the helping out with Florida, with how hard they were hit by the hurricanes, remember the American Red Cross, you can help donate by texting Red Cross, that's REDCROSS, to 90999 to send a donation for relief for Florida. Thank you so much to everyone that helped us here this evening. If you enjoyed the show, remember to hit that like button, subscribe, and after the stream is over, go down in the comment section. What was your favorite part? I know for me, it was getting able to call the flipping chaos of Tyler Dangler. I know it wasn't his favorite moment, but that was a wild time for the 19 machine. But for us here this evening, it was a pleasure to give you the call. We'll see you next week for the ISRC Truck Series as they head to Charlotte, the second to last race of the season. Cannot miss it. It's going to be a blast to call. But if you want to see more racing action before then, we'll see you tomorrow night. It's a cutoff race. Who is moving on to the round of 8 in the Challenger Racing League? You don't want to miss it. Tomorrow night, it's the Roval for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.